Chapter 2882. Although Mo Qingyun had guessed the situation outside, he didn't go out immediately. Instead, he continued to blood bond with the materials. Because the material he was blood bonding with was the 100-million-year-old jade willow that Murong Nana had given him. If he stopped now, the 100-million-year spirit void, with jade willow in his hand, might be completely destroyed. Although the 100-million-year-old jade willow was exchanged from the wood hall, it didn't take much time. But Mo Qingyun couldn't guarantee that he could exchange for another 100-million-year-old wood-type material from the wood hall. Although Mo Qingyun couldn't make a move, he didn't just sit and watch. He summoned Enchun and said, "Enchun, pay close attention to the situation outside. If both sides start fighting, stop those masked men." "Yes." Enchun responded immediately and left Mo Qingyun's side after hearing Mo Qingyun's order. Mo Qingyun didn't let down his guard after giving Enchun the order. He was still observing the situation outside. 3 sector lords and 6 half-sector lords. What a strong lineup. Mo Qingyun frowned when he sensed the strength of his enemies. He felt puzzled and said, with the strength of these 9 people, they should be able to establish a 4-star organization. There is no need for them to become space bandits. It looks like things aren't that simple. Also, if space bandits are attacking, it wouldn't be just the 9 of them. Mo Qingyun was even more confused when he thought of this. He could vaguely guess the reason. Soon after, a disdainful smile appeared on the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth. He said, "From the looks of it, the people outside should be related to the 1st and 2nd elders. However, I don't know who sent them." Mo Qingyun understood this point. His disgust and disdain towards the 2 grew even stronger. These 2 guys are really unscrupulous in order to achieve their goals. Mo Qingyun chuckled and shifted his attention to carefully blood bonding with the jade willow. At this moment, Murong Nana brought Zhang Qingming and the others to the boat. "Who are you? Why are you attacking our airship?" Murong Nana's face darkened as she looked at the masked man in front of her. She questioned him angrily. These people had all disguised themselves, making it impossible for others to identify them. The masked black-clothed men did not respond to Murong Nana's question. The leader ordered coldly, "Hand over your storage rings and we can spare your lives. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving." Murong Nana frowned when she heard their words. Her expression turned even uglier. She did not expect that on the way back to the true absolute beginning Devil Hall, she would encounter a group of powerful bandits. Thinking about how she would lose the 100-million-year-old fire coral and other materials if she handed over the storage ring, Murong Nana felt a sense of unwillingness. She said, "I'm the Grand Elder of the true beginning Devil Hall. Can you guys do me a favor and give me some face?" As Murong Nana spoke, she took out her identity card in an attempt to scare him off. "What absolute beginning true Devil Palace? I've never heard of it. Don't waste time with them. Since they're disobedient, kill them all. That's right. Don't let her stall for time. Attack." After those people talked for a while, they stopped talking nonsense and immediately attacked Murong Nana and the others. Seeing them attack, Murong Nana didn't dare to hesitate and clashed with the 3 sector lords. As for Zhang Qingming and the other 3, they were engaged in a chaotic battle with the 6 quasi-sector lords. Due to the huge difference in strength, Murong Nana and the others were still at a disadvantage even though they fought with their lives on the line. Seeing that they were in a bad situation, Bing Baijuan's expression tensed up. She said anxiously, "Why isn't junior brother Mo here yet? If he doesn't attack, we won't be a match for them. Boss Missouri should be at a crucial moment in refining pills. He can't come out to help us. Then what should we do? Based on the current situation, we won't be able to hold on for long. Don't panic. We'll try our best to stall for time until junior nephew Mo comes out." Zhang Qingming and the others discussed, and their expressions calmed down. However, even though they had made up their minds, the situation was getting worse. Especially Murong Nana. She was facing 3 sector lords alone. The pressure was too great. Number 3, you go deal with those brats. Number 2, and I will deal with this old woman. After fighting with Murong Nana for a while, the leader of the 9 people instructed the person beside him. He then said, Old woman, if you don't want those brats to die, you'd better be obedient." As he spoke, the sector lord called number 3 flew towards Zhang Qingming and the others. Murong Nana's face paled at the sight of this. She was extremely worried. She knew very well that with the strength of Zhang Qingming and the others, they would definitely die if they were to face number 3. Wait, after a fierce struggle, Murong Nana made the decision to compromise with the other party. In her opinion, even though treating Polar Snow's injuries was important, Bing Baijun and the others' lives were more important. Polar Snow wouldn't agree if Bing Baijun and the others died because of treating Polar Snow's injuries. At this moment, just as Murong Nana was about to compromise, a figure charged towards number 3. That person blocked number 3 and mocked. A world overlord actually dares to act against a few quasi-world overlords. Aren't you a little too shameless? Let me deal with you. That's right. The person who attacked was Enchun, who was hiding at the side. The moment Dawn made his move, he displayed astonishing strength and suppressed number 3. Murong Nana and the others were overjoyed at the sight of this. They were excited. Enchun's appearance was too timely. It instantly changed their situation. "Who are you? Why are you interfering in our business?" Number 2's eyes were as cold as needles when he saw Enchun suddenly attack. He questioned Enchun. Their plan was about to succeed, but was destroyed by Enchun. This made them furious. Enchun didn't mind at all when he heard number 2's question. He smiled faintly and said, "Someone doesn't like you guys and ordered me to deal with you guys. Are you satisfied with this answer?" Courting death. Number 3 gritted his teeth in anger when he saw Enchun's arrogant attitude. His attacks immediately became sharper. Unfortunately, the gap between his strength and Enchun's was too big. Even if he used all his strength, he couldn't do anything to Enchun. Not only that, under Enchun's attacks, his situation was getting worse and worse. He could be killed at any time. Number 1 didn't dare to hesitate when he saw number 3's situation. He immediately ordered number 2. "Number 2, go and help number 3. I'll hold this old woman back." Chapter 2883. Okay. Hearing number 1's order, number 2's figure moved and charged towards Enchun. As number 2 joined the battle, number 3's situation was immediately alleviated. "This person is very strong. Don't be careless." Number 3 had a chance to catch his breath, so he reminded number 2. Number 3's reminder made number 2's gaze become much colder. He looked at Enchun, who was not far away, and said, "Try to deal with him first. If it really doesn't work, we can only use all our strength. When that time comes, there will be no room to maneuver. We must kill them all." Hearing number 2's words, killing intent immediately flashed in number 3's eyes. After the two of them exchanged a sentence, they no longer hesitated and immediately attacked Enchun from all sides. Facing the two's attacks, Enchun did not fall into a disadvantage at all. He continued to deal with them with ease. Immediately, Enchun and the other 9 formed a temporary balance between them and the other 9. Seeing that both sides were in a stalemate, Murong Nana and the others showed relaxed smiles on their faces. As long as we persevere and wait for Boss Missouri to make a move, the crisis will be resolved. That's right. The ones who should be anxious now are not us. It should be them. I didn't expect that someone would help us at such a critical moment. It seems that even the heavens don't like them. I advise you to scram as soon as possible. Otherwise, when our boss comes out, it will be difficult for you to leave even if you want to. Seeing that the crisis in front of them was temporarily resolved, number 1 under heaven and the others were proud. Hearing number 1 under heaven and the others' words, the masked men in black immediately used their eyes to communicate. The few of them conversed for a while. Then, number 1 laughed wildly at the sky and said, "This old man has to admit that this person's sudden appearance has caused our plan to go awry. But even so, all of you will definitely die today." As number 1 spoke, the aura he emitted began to change greatly. Not only number 1, but the aura of the other 8 people beside him also changed. Soon, the aura of the 9 people was much stronger than before. What a terrifying flame power. Sensing number 1's aura, Murong Nana frowned. She was confused. This person's aura seems a little familiar. I think I've seen him somewhere before. He is... Nana thought for a moment and guessed number one's identity. Her face was filled with shock as she exclaimed, "Huopogang, it's actually you. As the Grand Elder of the Fire Hall, you actually led people to assassinate a fellow disciple of the Ice Hall. Could it be that you want to provoke a conflict between the two? Supreme Elder Morong, your perception is really sharp. You recognize this old man so quickly." Seeing that his identity had been exposed, number one did not hide anymore and removed his disguise. Soon after, a purple-black-haired old man appeared before them. After recovering his original appearance, Huopogang revealed a cold smile. He pointed at number 2 and number 3 beside him and said, "Grand Elder Morong, don't be in a hurry to get angry. Let's take a look at those two first." As Huopogang spoke, number 2 and number 3 removed their disguises one after another. "Bing Long, Bing Jixin, it's actually you." Recognizing number 2 and number 3, the shock on Morong Nana's face immediately became more intense. The Fire Hall and the Ice Hall had always been at odds. As the eldest son of the second elder, Bing Long actually colluded with the Grand Elder of the Fire Hall to secretly assassinate a disciple of the Ice Hall. This kind of behavior was simply intolerable. After knowing the identity of these people, Morong Nana's face was filled with anger. She berated, "Aren't you afraid that this matter will spread back to the sect, and you will be punished according to the sect's rules?" "Afraid? Of course we are afraid. But we won't let it spread back." Faced with Morong Nana's threat, Huopogang did not panic in the slightest. With a sneer on his face, he said, "Grand Elder Morong, take a look at what this is. If you recognize it, you wouldn't think that way." While Huopogang was speaking, the illusory image of a purple bell flashing with lightning appeared around everyone. Seeing the purple clock shadow, Morong Nana's face paled. She felt intense anger and said, "The sect's treasure that was lost for 100,000 years is actually in your hands. Could it be that the death of the old sect master is related to you?" When Morong Nana finished speaking, she couldn't help but shut her mouth. She was frightened by her own guess. Huopogang did not care about Morong Nana's shock. He still had a cold smile on his face and said, "Supreme Elder Morong, I've let you know so many secrets before you die. You should be at ease on your way. Send them on their way. Don't let a single one of them go." After Huopogang finished speaking, he turned into a flame and rushed towards Morong Nana. No longer concealing his identity, the strength that Huopogang displayed was several times stronger than before. Facing Huopogang, who attacked with his full strength, Morong Nana immediately fell into a perilous situation. "Yes." Hearing Huopogang's command, Bing Jixin rushed towards Enchun. With a cold glint in his eyes, he said, "Just now, in order to hide my identity, I couldn't use my full strength. I'll let you be proud for a long time. Now, I'll let you know how powerful I am." Clearly, he wanted to take revenge for the humiliation he had suffered. Seeing Bing Jixin's action, Bing Shuang's expression turned grave. She reminded him, "This person is very strong. He might have concealed his strength just now. Don't let your guard down. We only need to delay him and let Senior Huopogang deal with Old Lady Morong." "Okay." Hearing Bing Shuang's words, Bing Jixin suppressed his anger and regained his rationality. Shortly after, he cooperated with Bing Shuang and tangled with Enchun. As for Zhang Qingming and the others, they were also fighting with the other 6 people. They were in a passive situation. It seemed that they wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Seeing her situation, Morong Nana's expression turned grave. Her heart was filled with anxiety. The current situation wasn't good for them. Seeing the situation of Zhang Qingming and the others, Huopogang, who was fighting with Morong Nana, sneered, "Great Elder Morong, I'll give you one last chance. If you're willing to submit to us, I can spare your lives." "Great Elder Morong, you're a smart person. You should be able to understand the current situation." Hearing Huopogang's words, Morong Nana knitted her brows and hesitated. Morong Nana pondered for a moment. Then, she said to Huopogang, "Great Elder Huopogang, can you give me 2 hours to consider?" Hearing Morong Nana's request, Huopogang sneered and said, "Great Elder Morong, don't try to play tricks and stall for time. I'll only give you 10 breaths of time. I hope you can consider it clearly." As soon as Huopogang finished speaking, he began to count down, continuously counting down. Chapter 2884. 10, 9, 8, 7. As time passed, Murong Nana's expression became more and more serious, and her palms became sweaty. This was a crucial decision. If they were careless, they might all die. 5, 4, 3. At this moment, when Murong Nana was struggling in her heart and hesitating about what to do, Huopogang's figure suddenly flashed, and he threw a palm at her. As soon as Huopogang attacked, he threw out a flaming palm with a thunderous momentum. "You despicable!" Murong Nana was caught off guard by Huopogang's sudden sneak attack, and she was hit by his palm. She didn't expect that Huopogang, with his status, would do such a thing. Puff! After being hit by Huopogang's palm, Murong Nana spat out a mouthful of blood, and her face became as pale as paper. Then, her body flew out and crashed into the purple clock shadow. Bang! A loud sound was heard. Murong Nana's body crashed into the purple clock shadow, and she was bounced back by a force. Then, Murong Nana fell down and spat out a mouthful of blood again, and her face became even paler. Not only that, but the aura she emitted also weakened a lot. Looking at her appearance, she didn't even have half of her peak strength left. Even in her peak condition, she was no match for Huopogang. In her current state, if she fought with Huopogang, she might not even be able to last 10 moves. Not good. Senior Murong is injured. It's over. Even if Boss Missouri comes out of seclusion, he can't change the situation. Are we really going to die here today? Seeing that Murong Nana was seriously injured, Zhang Qingming and the others turned pale, and their fighting spirit was greatly reduced. Murong Nana's injury was too big of a blow to them. Seeing the current situation, Chun frowned and had a strong feeling that something was wrong. He said, "Not good. We have to contact Master immediately and ask him to take action." Chin's mind moved, and he began to send a voice transmission to Mo Qingyun, telling him about the current situation. After sending a telepathic message to Mo Qingyun, Chin's expression immediately relaxed. Mo Qingyun's sacrificial refining of the herbs was completed. After seriously injuring Murong Nana with a sneak attack, Huopogang had a complacent sneer on his face. He slowly walked toward Murong Nana and said, "Grand Elder Murong, do you think that I will still let you live after letting you know so many secrets? You are all treacherous and despicable ingrates. The old palace master treated you so well, but you actually plotted against him in secret." Seeing Huopogang slowly approaching her, Murong Nana was not afraid in the slightest as she gnashed her teeth and berated him. In response to Murong Nana's reprimand, Huopogang shook his head with a faint smile and said, "There are some things that you don't understand. After telling you so much, it's time to send you on your way." As soon as Huopogang finished speaking, he sent a palm strike towards Murong Nana, blasting out a flame palm shadow. Murong Nana revealed a resolute expression when she saw the palm's shadow blasting towards her. She was prepared to perish together with Huopogang. Pucci! At this moment, a sword light streaked across the sky and blasted onto the flame palm shadow. Under the bombardment of the sword light, the flame palm shadow was immediately dispersed, turning into a flame, saint energy, and dissipating. Seeing this scene, Murong Nana was stunned for a moment before a pleasantly surprised smile appeared on her face. She did not expect that someone would help her in such a situation. "Now that I'm trapped by the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, no one can come in." Could it be that he... While Murong Nana was pleasantly surprised, her mind was also spinning as she guessed who the person who had helped her was. Soon after, she looked in the direction where the sword light came from and saw a familiar face. It was Mo Qingyun. "Senior Murong, I'm late." Seeing Murong Nana looking at him, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "Leave this person to me. You go and help Senior Uncle Zhang and the others." "All right." Murong Nana nodded in response to Mo Qingyun's instructions and flew towards Zhang Qingming and the others. Soon after, Murong Nana joined the battle and helped Zhang Qingming and the others. Although Murong Nana was heavily injured, she was still an intermediate world lord after all. Her strength could not be underestimated. With Murong Nana's help, the situation of both sides was immediately reversed. Reckless brat, how dare you meddle in our business? Looking at Mo Qingyun, Huopogang was so angry that his face turned ashen and his fists were tightly clenched. The situation was about to be settled, but a late-stage Eternal Realm brat had ruined it. It was difficult to describe his feelings with words. No, you're wrong. I'm not meddling in your business. I'm going to kill you. Hearing Huopogang's words, Mo Qingyun spoke calmly, as if he was the god of death. Mo Qingyun's reply immediately infuriated Huopogang, causing his face to turn even more ashen. Boss Missouri is really domineering. Even the way he speaks is different from others. You are indeed Boss Missouri, to be able to do as you please. You don't even try to hide anything. Compared to Junior Brother Mo, this Supreme Elder of the Fire Hall really has no accent. Boss Missouri will definitely win. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Bing Baijun and the others were excited. Hearing the words of Bing Baijun and the others, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He curled his lips at Huopogang and said, "The eyes of the masses are as clear as snow. Even they think that you are no match for me. Just obediently wait for death." Bing Baijun and the others were dumbfounded by Mo Qingyun's words. They unconsciously looked at each other in dismay. Was it really good to be so confident? Sharp-tongued brat, this old man will take your life right now. Under Mo Qingyun's continuous ridicule, Huopogang finally lost his patience and blasted a palm at Mo Qingyun. Facing Huopogang's attack, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all, and he casually waved the Divine Nine Oxen Sword. Then, one sword ray after another with a threatening aura blasted out from the Divine Nine Oxen Sword. Under the continuous bombardment of the sword rays, the palm shadows that Huopogang had blasted out were easily neutralized by Mo Qingyun. Seeing this, Huopogang's expression turned serious, and he realized that Mo Qingyun was difficult to deal with. "Is that all you've got?" After blocking Huopogang's attack, Mo Qingyun smiled contemptuously, and his expression gradually turned cold. He said, "If that's the case, then I'm going to counterattack." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished his words, he took the initiative to attack, thrusting his sword at Huopogang. Time like light, ignoring defense, a sword ray blasted out, emitting a mysterious power that swept toward Huopogang. Facing Mo Qingyun's counterattack, Huopogang's face darkened, and he raised his hand to slap the sword ray. Then, a huge flaming palm with a violent aura blasted out from Huopogang's palm. What shocked Huopogang was that the sword ray actually penetrated the palm shadow and blasted directly on his body. How is this possible? After being blasted by the sword ray, Huopogang was immediately sent flying, and his face was filled with shock. He couldn't accept that he couldn't even take a single blow from Mo Qingyun. Chapter 2885. Great Elder Huopogang was sent flying by that kid. That seems to be the case. With that kid's cultivation, how could he have done that? Don't panic. It should be that Great Elder Huopogang was careless and accidentally fell into his trap. With that kid's cultivation, even if he injured Great Elder Huopogang, it wouldn't be too serious of an injury. Bing Long and the others panicked when they saw Huopogang being sent flying, but they soon regained their composure. However, before they could calm the panic in their hearts, their expressions were all lifeless. They noticed that there was a hideous wound on Huopogang's chest. Not only that, the aura Huopogang emitted was much weaker than before. In other words, Mo Qingyun's sword strike had injured Huopogang quite badly. After knowing Huopogang's condition and recalling what they'd said, Bing Long and the others blushed. Boss Missouri is really powerful. He defeated that old man with a single strike. He's not just powerful, he's simply unreasonable. an Eternity Realm expert suppressing a Sector Lord. Such a battle record is too terrifying. It seems like the crisis has been resolved. Number one under heaven and the others were excited when they saw Mo Qingyun's performance. Their tense expressions relaxed. If this continued, their crisis would be completely resolved. After sending Huopogang flying with his sword, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and rushed towards him. "Kid, stop. Great Elder Huopogang, be careful." Bing Long and the others were shocked when they saw Mo Qingyun's actions. They immediately warned Huopogang. Huopogang's face trembled when he heard their warning. He immediately blocked Mo Qingyun's attack. However, to everyone's surprise, Mo Qingyun's figure suddenly flashed and flew towards Bing Jixin. Eternal Age, Spatial Imprisonment, Ignore Defense. Mo Qingyun wielded the nine-bowl divine sword and swung it forward, blasting out a sharp sword light. The sword ray flashed and arrived in front of Bing Jixin in the blink of an eye. It swept towards him. Mo Qingyun's sudden change of direction caught Bing Jixin off guard, causing him to turn pale with fright. In his haste, Bing Jixin did not wait for his death. He immediately waved his fist to defend against the sword light. However, his defense seemed to be in vain. The sword light flashed and passed, penetrating the fist light that he blasted out. Then, the sword light hit his body and sent him flying. Puff! When Bing Jixin was sent flying, he spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face became as pale as paper. Then, the aura he emitted immediately weakened. After sending Bing Jixin flying with his sword, Mo Qingyun's attack did not slow down as he once again stabbed towards him. "Brat, how dare you!" Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Bing Shuang's face turned ashen as he roared furiously. When Bing Shuang roared furiously, he did not hesitate at all. He immediately flew towards Mo Qingyun, wanting to stop Mo Qingyun's actions. Unfortunately, before Bing Shuang could take a step forward, Chun stopped him and said, "Now, we can have a fair fight one-on-one. You can't run away." Bing Shuang was furious that Chun had blocked his way, but there was nothing he could do. Then, he could only watch helplessly as Mo Qingyun's sword light bombarded Bing Jixin. Then, he saw Bing Jixin's body being hit by the sword ray once again. After being hit by the sword ray consecutively, Bing Jixin's combat strength was instantly reduced to the extreme. "Brat, don't be so arrogant. Take this." Seeing Bing Jixin's situation, Huopogang ignored his injuries and immediately tried to stop him. Facing Huopogang's attack, Mo Qingyun stopped his attack and waved his sword to block Huopogang's palm shadow. With a light wave of the nine-bowl divine sword in his hand, Huopogang easily blocked the palm shadow that was aimed at Mo Qingyun. After forcing Mo Qingyun to retreat, Huopogang came to Bing Jixin's side and checked his injuries. Huopogang's face turned ashen as he took a look. He was so angry that his body kept trembling. Under Mo Qingyun's two sword strikes, Bing Jixin could only use less than 30% of his strength. In this way, it would be impossible for them to kill Mo Qingyun and the others. "You despicable brat. You actually used a sneak attack. This kind of behavior is disdainful." Seeing that his plan had failed, Huopogang could no longer maintain his rationality. He gritted his teeth and roared at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun did not care about Huopogang's insults. With a faint smile, he said, "Don't be like this. I won't allow you to talk about yourself like this." "Well said, Boss Missouri," what a godly reply. It's really appropriate to say that about Huopogang. This is called giving him a taste of his own medicine. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Bing Baijun and the others cheered repeatedly. Even Murong Nana, who was beside them, nodded in agreement when she saw Mo Qingyun's actions. Ignoring the furious Huopogang, Mo Qingyun looked at Huopogang and Bing Shuang. He revealed a meaningful smile and said, "Who will be the next one, you or him?" With the nine-bowl divine sword in his hand, Mo Qingyun pointed at Huopogang and Bing Shuang, causing them to panic. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he rushed toward Bing Shuang, looking like he was going to attack him. "Brat, how dare you!" Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Huopogang was shocked and immediately shouted at Mo Qingyun. In his opinion, if Bing Shuang was killed, the alliance between the Fire Hall and the Second Elder would very likely be stopped. This was not an outcome he was willing to accept, nor was it something he could bear. Immediately, Huopogang's figure flashed and rushed toward Mo Qingyun. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and rushed toward Bing Jixin again. Oh no, I've been tricked. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Huopogang's expression twitched, and he had a strong feeling that something was wrong. It turned out that Mo Qingyun's target had always been the injured Bing Jixin. This time, he had been tricked by Mo Qingyun again. Realizing that he had been tricked, Huopogang did not dare to hesitate and immediately chased after Mo Qingyun. Space imprisonment. Seeing Huopogang chasing after him, Mo Qingyun grinned and released the double space imprisonment law. Immediately, Huopogang's body stopped and was forcefully imprisoned in midair. What's going on? Why can't I break through a space imprisonment law? Seeing that he had been imprisoned, Huopogang's old face panicked and the anxiety in his heart intensified. Immediately, he frantically circulated his law energy and attacked the sealed space around him. However, when he broke through the space imprisonment and was about to stop Mo Qingyun, it was already too late. Mo Qingyun wielded the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and pierced through Bing Jixin's head. Seeing such a scene, Huopogang was stunned. Everyone else was stunned too. Bing Jixin had been killed by Mo Qingyun. A sector lord had actually fallen just like that. Chapter 2886. Am I hallucinating? Junior brother, Mo, killed Elder Bing Jixin. An Eternity Realm cultivator killed an immortal lord while being obstructed by two immortal lords. Such a battle record is truly shocking. As expected of Boss Missouri, ordinary people can't be compared to him. Why do I suddenly feel that his name, #1 in the world, invincible in the world, is more appropriate than ours? Seeing Mo Qingyun's shocking actions, Bing Baijun and the others were impressed. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed that an Eternity Realm cultivator could kill an immortal lord. This grand disciple of polar ice is becoming more and more unfathomable. Looking at Mo Qingyun, Murong Nana couldn't help but sigh. Her impression of Mo Qingyun changed drastically. At this moment, she suddenly realized that everything she thought she had seen through Mo Qingyun was just an illusion. You actually killed Elder Bing Jixin? Looking at Bing Jixin's corpse, Bing Shuang was in disbelief for a long time. He couldn't accept this fact. Bing Jixin, who wasn't any weaker than him, was killed by Mo Qingyun without any resistance. Didn't this mean that if Mo Qingyun wanted to, he could also kill him? Are you blind? Didn't you see that I just killed him? Mo Qingyun rolled his eyes at Bing Shuang's question as though he was looking at an idiot. Mo Qingyun's mocking words immediately infuriated Bing Shuang. He gritted his teeth and looked at Mo Qingyun. Kid, I'll remember this. I'll definitely repay you tenfold in the future. After Bing Shuang finished speaking, he kept Bing Jixin's corpse and gave Huopogang a look. After receiving Bing Shuang's look, Huopogang immediately understood and wanted to retreat. Bing Jixin had been killed by Mo Qingyun. If they continued to stay, they would only increase the number of unnecessary casualties. Let's go. Huopogang made up his mind and didn't want to stay any longer. He immediately instructed the others. After instructing the others, Huopogang no longer hesitated and prepared to leave with the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. You want to leave? Seeing the actions of Huopogang and the others, Mo Qingyun grinned mischievously and said, "Do you think I'm an idiot like you? Knowing that you want to take revenge on me, do you think I'll let you leave alive?" Mo Qingyun's question caused everyone to be absent-minded for a while. Their brain circuits were a little slow. Logically speaking, wouldn't a normal person leave behind such harsh words when they were about to escape? And Chun, leave Bing Shuang here. I'll take care of this old man. Without waiting for Huopogang and the others to reply, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and charged toward Huopogang. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered a few times before he arrived in front of Huopogang. He raised his hand and sent a palm strike towards Hwopogang. As Mo Qingyun waved his hand, a powerful spatial, nomological power blasted out from his palm. Then, the space around Hwopogang was forcefully sealed by a force. Break! Sensing that the space around him had been sealed, Hwopogang immediately panicked and frantically bombarded his surroundings. After sealing Hwopogang, Mo Qingyun didn't continue to attack. Instead, he raised his hand and beckoned towards the void. Then, a small purple bell fell into Mo Qingyun's hand. You're not completely without merit. At least, you're very forthright. You directly gave me an emperor-grade magical treasure. After putting away the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, Mo Qingyun revealed an appreciative smile and praised Hwopogang. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he urged his soul power and forcibly erased the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell soul brand. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Hwopogang was so angry that he vomited blood. It was clearly Mo Qingyun who snatched the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. He didn't take the initiative to give it away. Although Hwopogang was very depressed, he was now sealed and couldn't refute. Ignoring Hwopogang's depression, Mo Qingyun put away the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell and began to attack Hwopogang. The nine-bull divine sword in his hand trembled and blasted out a sword ray towards Hwopogang's head. Seeing the sword ray piercing towards him, Hwopogang panicked and pushed his strength to the limit. Under his all-out attack, the sealed space around him was finally broken. After breaking through the sealed space, Hwopogang didn't dare to be careless and immediately dodged the sword ray. With the previous experience, he didn't dare to forcibly block Mo Qingyun's sword ray. Pucci. Although Hwopogang dodged with all his strength, he was still a step too slow, and his right shoulder was hit by the sword ray. Shortly after, a hideous wound appeared on Hwopogang's shoulder. After being injured by Mo Qingyun once again, Hwopogang understood that he wasn't a match for Mo Qingyun. Immediately, he didn't speak any more nonsense and immediately turned around to flee. As for Bing Shuang and the others, he didn't have the heart to care about their life and death. Seeing Hwopogang's action, the corner of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up and a light gate condensed in his hand. The light gate condensed and was sent into Mo Qingyun's body to increase his battle strength. Time rewind law. Sensing the time law, Mo Qingyun's eyes narrowed and a trace of playfulness appeared in them. At this moment, Hwopogang was like a mouse being toyed with in his eyes. Time rewind. With a thought in Mo Qingyun's mind, a mysterious power of law was emitted from his body. When this power was emitted, it enveloped Hwopogang and caused his movement to begin to reverse. Time rewind law. Seeing his own performance, Hwopogang was so scared that his face trembled and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. He said, "No, this isn't time rewind law. Time rewind law isn't so tyrannical. What kind of law is this?" While Hwopogang was puzzled, the fear in his heart immediately became much stronger. He discovered that the longer he fought with Mo Qingyun, the more he couldn't see through Mo Qingyun. The feeling of facing the unknown was too painful for him. After using the power of law on Hwopogang to prevent him from escaping, Mo Qingyun attacked him again. Because Hwopogang's movement was retreating, Mo Qingyun could see through his every move. As a result, Mo Qingyun's sword pierced through the space between his eyebrows. No. Hwopogang's eyes widened when Mo Qingyun pierced through his forehead. He couldn't believe that this was real. At this moment, an obscure soul power appeared in Hwopogang's mind. Mo Qingyun was startled by the appearance of this soul strength, and he immediately retreated. When Mo Qingyun retreated, he took out the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell and enveloped Hwopogang. Boom! Just as the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell enveloped Hwopogang, his body exploded, producing a loud sound. Shortly after, a terrifying storm formed within the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Fortunately, the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell blocked it and didn't affect Mo Qingyun and the others. Seeing this situation, Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed tightly as doubt arose in his heart. Why was there another person's soul power in Hwapogang's mind? Chapter 2887. Could it be that Hwapogang is being controlled by someone? Who is controlling him? A strong sense of curiosity arose in Mo Qingyun's heart when he sensed Hwapogang's abnormality. There seemed to be a huge secret hidden in all this, or rather, a shocking conspiracy. According to Hwapogang's previous description, the previous Hall Master of the true Primordium Demon Hall might have died behind this secret. Forget it. Let's not think about it anymore. After pondering for a while, Mo Qingyun still couldn't make heads or tails of it. He shook his head and discarded the distracting thoughts in his mind. Paper can't wrap fire in the end. No matter how deeply a secret is hidden, there will be a time when it will be exposed. While Mo Qingyun was muttering to himself, the storm within the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell gradually calmed down. Seeing that the storm had subsided, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and put it away. After killing Hwapogang, Mo Qingyun didn't remain idle and turned to look at Bing Shuang. Sensing Mo Qingyun's gaze, Bing Shuang immediately panicked and hurriedly begged Mo Qingyun, "Don't kill me. As long as you don't kill me, I'll do anything." "All right, I'll spare your life then. Release your origin spirit." Hearing Bing Shuang's words, Mo Qingyun's mind moved, and he immediately had a plan. Bing Shuang was the eldest son of the second elder and definitely knew many of the second elder's secrets. There should be some use in keeping alive. Yes, knowing his situation, Bing Shuang was very tactful and obediently released his origin spirit. Then, Mo Qingyun formed a hand seal and sent it into Bing Shuang's origin spirit. Then, all the memories in Bing Shuang's mind were read by Mo Qingyun. As I thought, after reading Bing Shuang's memories, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. He had an answer to his conjecture. Seeing that Mo Qingyun knew all his secrets, Bing Shuang's attitude became even more respectful. At this moment, the battle between Murong Nana and the others had also ended. After dealing with the 6 of them, Murong Nana walked towards Mo Qingyun. She looked at Bing Shuang in confusion and asked, "Brother Mo, why did you leave him alive? If he had any evil intentions, he would be in big trouble." "Senior, you don't have to worry. He can't do anything in front of me." In response to Murong Nana's worries, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and gave her a reassuring look. "Also, I have an even more important use for keeping him alive. You'll know when the time comes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Murong Nana did not say anything else and did not interfere with Mo Qingyun's actions. She felt that Mo Qingyun must have his reasons for doing so. Let's not delay any longer. Let's continue our journey. Seeing that the trouble in front of him was solved, Mo Qingyun continued to delay and walked towards the flying boat. Soon, Mo Qingyun and the others returned to the flying boat and drove it back to the true demon hall. As Murong Nana's injuries were not light, she handed the flying boat to Zhang Qingming and the others so that they could continue their journey. As for Mo Qingyun, he returned to the secret room and continued to cultivate and refine Gufan's soul. He felt that the true, absolute, beginning demonic hall was not like what he thought. It was a stable place for cultivation. The secrets hidden in the true demon hall were much more complicated than he had imagined. Therefore, in order to better deal with any unforeseen events, he had to increase his strength as quickly as possible. The rest of the journey passed quickly as Mo Qingyun cultivated. 2 days passed quickly. With the efforts of Zhang Qingming and the others, they finally returned to the true demon hall after 2 days. When they returned to the true demon hall, Zhang Qingming and the others' expressions were clearly much more relaxed. "Little friend of Mo, I still have to continue recuperating. I'll part with you now." Murong Nana came down from the flying boat. She bid farewell to Mo Qingyun and left with number 1 under heaven and unparalleled under heaven. Mo Qingyun frowned as he watched Murong Nana leave. He was puzzled and said, The life aura on Senior Murong's body seemed to be much more active than before. What's going on?" This discovery puzzled Mo Qingyun. He didn't understand what was wrong with this. He felt that Murong Nana's life aura should have weakened because she was heavily injured. But in the end, Murong Nana's life aura was the opposite of normal. This was a little abnormal. If not for the fact that Murong Nana's appearance had not changed, he might even have thought that he had met two different people. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and decided not to think too much about it. He left with Bing Bai Jun and the others. He went to Polar Ice's residence with Bing Bai Jun and the others. When they arrived at Polar Ice's residence, Mo Qingyun walked to his side and checked his condition. "Grandmaster, your recovery from your injuries is much faster than I expected," said Yi Zichen with a smile. After checking Polar Ice's condition, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and said, "In this case, after you consume the elixir, I will help you expel the cold qi in your body. Your injuries should be 70 to 80% better. Thank you for your hard work." Polar Ice nodded in satisfaction when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. After knowing Polar Ice's condition, Mo Qingyun did not want to stay any longer. He prepared to go back and refine elixirs for him. Immediately, Mo Qingyun stood up and cupped his fists at Polar Ice. "Martial Ancestor, I still have to refine elixirs for you. I will return to my residence first." "Go!" Polar Ice nodded. Then, Mo Qingyun left the room and returned to his residence. After returning to his residence, Mo Qingyun's figure flickered and entered the Fortune mainland. Although the grade of the elixirs he was going to refine wasn't particularly high, the materials needed were very rare. If he was disturbed in his residence and failed to refine the elixir, he wouldn't be able to accept it. After entering the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun did not delay and immediately started refining the elixirs. Mo Qingyun waved his hand, and an ancient cauldron appeared in front of him. This was something he had found in the Ice Temple's treasury. This ancient cauldron was a world lord-level treasure. It would be much easier for Mo Qingyun if he used it to refine elixirs. Placing the ancient cauldron in front of him, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and pushed, sending a stream of civilization fire into the cauldron. Then, Mo Qingyun picked up various elixir refining materials and threw them into the ancient cauldron in an orderly manner. After placing all the elixir refining materials into the ancient cauldron, Mo Qingyun focused on refining them. Under Mo Qingyun's careful refining, the elixir refining materials turned into pure elixirs. After an unknown amount of time, when all the elixir refining materials had turned into elixirs, Mo Qingyun poured the blue sky cold spring water into the cauldron. As the blue sky cold spring water was poured into the cauldron, the various elixirs inside the cauldron began to merge with the blue sky cold spring water. Slowly, the various elixirs merged into one, turning into a ball of dark green liquid. It's almost time to refine the elixirs. Looking at the situation inside the cauldron, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn as he began to condense the elixirs into elixirs. This process continued for an entire day before Mo Qingyun finally stopped what he was doing. Chapter 2888. Boom, boom, boom. Just as Mo Qingyun stopped, a deafening rumble of thunder came from above him. Hearing the rumble of thunder, Mo Qingyun raised his head and saw black clouds gathering. Looking at this scene, Mo Qingyun did not panic in the slightest. He knew that the pill tribulation was coming. Then, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and opened the cauldron lid. As the lid was opened, a green medicinal pill with rich medicinal energy flew out from the ancient cauldron. Boom! Just as the medicinal pill flew out from the ancient cauldron, a bolt of lightning as thick as an arm swallowed it. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. He quietly watched the medicinal pill withstand the tribulation lightning. Just like this, the medicinal pill withstood 7 bolts of tribulation lightning in a row before the tribulation clouds slowly dispersed. Seeing that the tribulation lightning had dispersed, Mo Qingyun reached out and grabbed the medicinal pill. The 7th tribulation medicinal pill. It's better than I expected. Looking at the medicinal pill in his hand, Mo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction. He carefully put the medicinal pill into a jade bottle and said, Since the medicinal pill is refined, it's time to treat martial ancestors' injuries. Mo Qingyun's figure disappeared in a flicker, and he left the Fortune mainland. Back in his room, Mo Qingyun did not delay and immediately headed to Polar Snow's residence. A short while later, when Mo Qingyun arrived at Polar Snow's room, he noticed that everyone's gaze towards him had changed. Mo Qingyun was not surprised by everyone's reaction. He knew that this was because Bing Baijun and the others had revealed the matter of him killing Huopo Gang and the others. I have to treat martial ancestors' injuries. You all can leave first. Walking to Polar Snow's side, Mo Qingyun calmly instructed and signaled for everyone to leave. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Bing Pingyu and the others immediately left. Their attitude was obviously more respectful than before. After everyone left, Mo Qingyun took out a jade bottle and handed it to Polar Snow. Grandmaster, this is a healing pill that I refined for you. Take it, and I will help you refine and absorb it. All right. Polar Snow took the pill from Mo Qingyun and swallowed it without hesitation. As soon as Polar Snow swallowed the pill, he could feel a strong medicinal power emanating from the pill. What shocked Polar Snow the most was that he sensed a bloodline power within the pill. Qingyun, why is there a bloodline power in the pills you refined? Sensing the bloodline power in the pill, Polar Snow's face was filled with shock. He immediately asked Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun did not try to hide anything from Polar Snow's question. Instead, he explained, the power of the bloodline in the elixir pill was added with my own blood when I was refining the elixir pill. My blood has a strong healing power. Using it to refine the elixir pill can increase its effect. After listening to Mo Qingyun's explanation, Polar Snow's eyes were wet. He was deeply moved. Qingyun, it is my life's blessing to have a grand disciple like you. I don't know how to repay this kindness. In his opinion, he and Mo Qingyun were only disciples in name, but not in reality. Under such circumstances, Mo Qingyun being able to treat him like this was truly commendable. Grandmaster, with our relationship, there is no need to say this. Hearing Polar Snow's touching words, Mo Qingyun smiled and waved his hand. He did not take it hard at all. After comforting Polar Snow, Mo Qingyun did not stop his actions. He raised his hand and pressed it on Polar Snow's back. Then, Mo Qingyun injected a stream of pure saint energy into Polar Snow's body. After injecting the saint energy into Polar Snow's body, Mo Qingyun controlled the saint energy to help Polar Snow refine and absorb the medicinal power. With Mo Qingyun's help, the medicinal power quickly seeped into Polar Snow's body and restored his vitality. This process lasted for several hours before Mo Qingyun withdrew his hands. After several hours of hard work, even with Mo Qingyun's mental strength, he cannot take it anymore. Grandmaster, from tomorrow onwards, I will help you expel the cold poison from your body. Mo Qingyun stood up and instructed Polar Snow. He then prepared to return to his residence. Looking at Mo Qingyun's tired back, Polar Snow looked like he wanted to say something. In the end, he did not say anything. After Mo Qingyun walked out of the room, Bing Pingyu and the others entered to check on Polar Snow's condition. After observing for a while, they could clearly feel that Polar Snow's vitality had become much stronger. Even his face had become much younger. Previously, Polar Snow's face was no different from a 100-year-old man. Now, he looked like an old man. After understanding Polar Snow's condition, Bing Pingyu frowned and said, Father, when Qingyun was healing you just now, did you ask about the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell? Qingyun had it tough just now, so I didn't ask him about it. Polar Snow shook his head when he heard Bing Pingyu's question. He said, It's true that the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell is the most precious treasure in the sect. However, I believe that with Qingyun's character, he would not take it for himself. Even if Qingyun wants to take it for himself, I will fully support him. He took it from Huopo Gang. Why should he hand it over to the sect? Seeing Polar Snow's attitude, Bing Pingyu shook his head helplessly and did not say anything else. After asking about the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, Bing Pingyu changed the topic and said, The second elder has colluded with the fire hall. What if the fire hall's people come to cause trouble in the holy book of exorcism half a month later? How are we going to deal with them? As long as I recover 70% of my strength, other than Hoa Sangxiong himself, no one can stop me. Polar Frost replied confidently in response to Bing Pingyu's worries. With Polar Snow's reply, the worry on Bing Pingyu's face lessened a little. Subsequently, Polar Snow and Bing Pingyu discussed the details of the Holy Book of Exorcism. While Polar Snow and Bing Pingyu were discussing, Mo Qingyun returned to his residence and entered the Fortune mainland in a flash. After entering the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun sat down cross-legged to adjust his breathing and recover his exhausted mental strength. After cultivating for a few hours, the mental strength and saint energy that he had consumed earlier were finally restored to their peak. After recovering his exhausted mental strength and saint force, Mo Qingyun did not stop cultivating and continued to refine Gufan's soul. Just like that. In the following period of time, other than helping Polar Snow expel the cold poison, Mo Qingyun focused all his efforts on refining Gufan's soul. After this period of hard work, other than Polar Snow's injuries being healed, Mo Qingyun's strength had also improved greatly. Mo Qingyun's refinement of Gufan's soul had reached 30%. Thinking about his refinement progress, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a satisfied smile. With my current situation, I don't fear anyone below the pinnacle of the Sector Lord realm when fighting with just my saint energy. With this, his safety in the true, absolute beginning Devil Palace had increased by a lot. Although the increase in his strength made Mo Qingyun happy, he did not become complacent. He was very clear that with his current strength, he still had a long way to go. Chapter 2889. Master, the Holy Book of Sealing Devil is about to begin. Do you want to come over? Bing Shuang's voice suddenly sounded in Mo Qingyun's mind, interrupting his train of thought. Hearing Bing Shuang's voice, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. A trace of surprise flickered in his eyes as he muttered, "The Holy Book of Sealing Devil is actually about to begin. I've been cultivating day and night, completely forgetting about it." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. Without further hesitation, he left the Fortune mainland. After Mo Qingyun left the Fortune mainland, he sent a voice transmission to Bing Baijun and the others, inquiring about their current location. Receiving Mo Qingyun's voice transmission, Bing Baijun immediately replied, telling him to gather at Polar Snow's residence. When Mo Qingyun arrived at Polar Snow's residence, he saw Polar Snow and the others, each of them smiling happily. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that there was actually a beautiful middle-aged woman standing beside Polar Snow. Mo Qingyun found this beautiful middle-aged woman's appearance somewhat familiar, as if he had seen her somewhere before. "You are," Mo Qingyun sized up the beautiful middle-aged woman and immediately recognized her. Shock surfaced on his face as he asked, "You are Senior Murong?" Seeing that Mo Qingyun recognized her, the beautiful middle-aged woman nodded with a faint smile. Although Mo Qingyun had already guessed the beautiful middle-aged woman's identity, he was still surprised hearing her admit herself. In just a few days, Murong Nana's appearance had changed from that of an old woman to that of a mature woman. This kind of change was too big that it was hard for him to accept. Looking at Mo Qingyun's surprised face, Murong Nana smiled faintly and explained, "In the past, because of a mistake in my cultivation, some of my meridians dried up, causing my appearance to age rapidly. Who would have thought that the injuries I received a few days ago coincidentally opened up those meridians? After those meridians were opened up under these days of cultivation, not only did my appearance recover a little, my cultivation also advanced a step." After listening to Murong Nana's explanation, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. The doubts in his heart had been resolved. At the same time, he sighed inwardly. Murong Nana was really lucky to have encountered such a good thing. It was really a blessing in disguise. It's no wonder that when I saw Senior Murong a few days ago, I sensed that her vitality had become stronger. Mo Qingyun cursed in his heart. His doubts were completely resolved. Polar Snow's injuries had healed, and Murong Nana's face had returned to normal. Everyone was in a good mood. This was truly one joyous occasion after another, two joyous occasions arriving at the same time. The Holy Book of Sealing Demons is about to begin. Let's go. After chatting with Mo Qingyun for a while, Polar Snow stood up and walked out of the room. Seeing Polar Snow's actions, everyone hurriedly followed him and headed to the location where the Holy Demon Sealing Ceremony was being held. Not long after, under Polar Snow's lead, Mo Qingyun and the others arrived at the top of an ice mountain. By the time Mo Qingyun and the others arrived, there were already many people at the top of the mountain. They were clearly divided into two camps. If he was not mistaken, these people were divided into two groups, led by the first elder and the second elder. Seeing Polar Snow arrive with Mo Qingyun and the others, everyone pretended not to see them and did not even stand up to bow. Clearly, they no longer regarded Polar Snow as the Hall Master. Seeing everyone's behavior, Bing Pingyu snorted coldly, his face full of anger. What made Bing Pingyu even angrier was that he saw Hua Rong and the others standing beside the Grand Elder and the Second Elder. Clearly, they had completely sided with the Grand Elder and the Second Elder, while Polar Snow was seriously injured. These traitors, seeing Hua Rong and the others' behavior, Bing Baijun scolded them directly, her face full of anger. Although Hua Rong and the others had sided with the Grand Elder and the Second Elder in the past, they had at least concealed it a little. Now, they were standing beside the Grand Elder and the Second Elder openly and did not even bother to conceal it. This was too much. Ignore them. Compared to Bing Baijun and the others' anger, Polar Snow was much calmer and did not show any signs of anger. After walking through the gates of hell, Polar Snow's current state of mind was much stronger than that of ordinary people. Under everyone's gaze, Polar Snow walked to the highest seat unhurriedly and sat down. He said, "Since everyone is here, let's begin the Book of Sealing Demons." After Polar Snow finished speaking, the surroundings were silent and no one responded. Seeing this, Bing Pingyu could not help but raise his hand to point at everyone and scold. "What are you doing? Are you going to defy the Hall Master's words?" The Grand Elder chuckled at Bing Pingyu's scolding. He looked at Bing Pingyu coldly and said, "The Hall Master is sitting there. Since when is it your turn to speak? Step aside." "You." Hearing the Grand Elder's words, Bing Pingyu looked angry and was about to refute. Before Bing Pingyu could speak, Polar Snow raised his hand and gestured for him to step aside and watch. He said, "Grand Elder, if you have any advice, why don't you say it?" "It's not advice. Before the Book of Sealing Demons begins, there is something I would like the Hall Master to do us justice." The Grand Elder replied indifferently with an arrogant attitude. He then looked coldly at Mo Qingyun and said, "I would like to ask the Hall Master, what kind of punishment should one receive for harming a fellow disciple in the Ice Hall?" Harming a fellow disciple deserves death. Polar Snow did not hide anything and spoke in a solemn tone. Hearing Polar Snow's answer, the Grand Elder nodded in satisfaction and said, "With the Hall Master's words, I can rest assured." After the Grand Elder finished speaking, he turned to look at Mo Qingyun and said coldly, "In the fire domain of the Fire Xian continent, this person sneakily attacked my grandson and disciples for a 100-million-year-old fire coral, causing many of them to die in the Sea of Fire. What kind of punishment should he receive?" After the Grand Elder finished speaking, everyone looked at Mo Qingyun and started whispering to each other. "Hall Master, please do us justice. Otherwise, we'll be disappointed." Before Polar Snow could reply, the Second Elder sneered and added fuel to the fire. After the Second Elder finished speaking, he picked up his teacup and took a sip, looking like he was waiting to watch a good show. "Even if Junior Brother Mo did this, you guys would definitely be the ones who made the first move." Bing Baijun was anxious and took the initiative to speak up for Mo Qingyun. However, just as he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Polar Snow, who gestured for him to stop speaking. After stopping Bing Baijun, Polar Snow looked at Mo Qingyun to see what Mo Qingyun was thinking. This was because he realized that Mo Qingyun's face was calm and unperturbed from beginning to end. It was obvious that Mo Qingyun had already thought of a way to deal with the current situation. Grandmaster, let me handle this myself. You guys can just watch from the side. Seeing that Polar Snow was walking toward him, Mo Qingyun instructed him and slowly walked out of the crowd. Mo Qingyun walked to the center of the mountain peak and looked at the Grand Elder with a faint smile. Grand Elder, you said that I harmed a fellow disciple. Do you have any witnesses? If you don't have any witnesses, then you are just trying to incriminate yourself. Mo Qingyun's question stunned everyone. They all looked at each other in dismay. Obviously, they did not expect Mo Qingyun to ask such a question. Chapter 2890. Witnesses. The first elder chuckled softly, as if he had expected Mo Qingyun to say this. He beckoned to a middle-aged man and said, Chun-He, tell everyone what happened. Yes. The man called Chun-He immediately recounted what had happened when he heard the first elder's instructions. The expressions of Polar Snow and the others all turned grave when they heard Chun-He's words. They could tell that Chun-He was telling the truth. Mo Qingyun had indeed ambushed Bing Zheng and the others. What else do you have to say? After Chun-He finished speaking, the first elder's face darkened and he questioned Mo Qingyun coldly. Mo Qingyun pointed at Chun-He in response to the first elder's question and asked, I would like to ask First Elder, who is this person? He is Prince Bing Zheng's personal bodyguard. His job is to protect Prince Bing Zheng's safety. Chun-He immediately replied when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. Oh, personal bodyguard? That means you are one of the First Elder's subordinates. Mo Qingyun pretended to be enlightened and nodded at Chun-He. He smiled faintly and said, First Elder, you sent one of your subordinates to accuse me of harming my fellow disciples. This doesn't seem to count, does it? You. The first elder was so angry that he was at a loss for words when he saw that Mo Qingyun had so casually resolved his problem. Mo Qingyun didn't seem to care about the first elder's anger. He turned his head to look at Polar Snow and asked, Ancestor, I have something to ask. What kind of punishment should one receive for slandering fellow disciples and inciting strife between fellow disciples? His cultivation should be crippled, and he should be expelled from the sect. Polar Snow replied coldly when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. As soon as Polar Snow finished speaking, an icy aura exploded from Mo Qingyun's body. Mo Qingyun raised his hand and made a grabbing motion. He extended his palm toward Chun-He. Mo Qingyun's sudden attack startled everyone. They were all dumbfounded on the spot. This turn of events was too sudden and caught them off guard. Stop! Seeing Mo Qingyun attack Chun-He, the first elder angrily roared and moved to stop Mo Qingyun. However, Mo Qingyun's actions were too fast and too sudden. Even if the first elder wanted to stop him, it was too late. Before the first elder could make a move, Chun-He was captured by Mo Qingyun, and his throat was tightly gripped. Great Elder, save me. Seeing that he had been captured by Mo Qingyun, Chun-He was so scared that his face turned pale. He loudly cried for help. Hearing Chun-He's request, the first elder was so angry that his face turned ashen. He angrily shouted, Brat, what are you trying to do? Immediately release Chun-He. Oomph. This person slandered his fellow disciples and instigated internal strife within the sect. Grand Elder, are you going to shield him? Mo Qingyun did not seem to care about the first elder's order at all as he asked in a cold tone. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the first elder was once again at a loss for words. He did not know how to answer. Seeing that the first elder did not speak, Mo Qingyun stared coldly at Chun-He and shouted, slandering your fellow disciples and instigating internal strife within the sect. According to the sect's rules, your cultivation will be crippled and you will be expelled from the sect as punishment. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he threw a palm at Chun-He's abdomen, directly crippling his cultivation. After crippling Chun-He's cultivation, Mo Qingyun casually threw him to the ground like he was throwing trash. Gasp! Seeing Mo Qingyun's overbearing actions, the disciples standing around all sucked in a breath of cold air in fright. Mo Qingyun was simply too domineering. He attacked without any hesitation. There was no room for negotiation. Boss Missouri is really mighty. No one can stop him from teaching someone a lesson. Reckless fool, you actually dared to accuse Boss Missouri. You're really looking for death. Junior brother Mo is so fierce. He even dared to cripple the first elder's men. More importantly, he crippled Chun-He. Even the first elder can't do anything to him. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Bing Bai Jun and the others' expressions were filled with admiration. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Murong Nana also revealed an emotional expression and said, "This little fellow's methods are much more powerful than Babeli's. I really can't believe that Babylon managed to train such a disciple. The new generation excels the old. Each generation is better than the previous." Very good. Seeing Mo Qingyun's domineering performance, Polar Snow smiled with joy and said, "It seems that my ice palace has a successor. I can rest assured." After Polar Snow finished speaking, he revealed a gratified expression and nodded continuously at Mo Qingyun. You sure have guts. You actually dare to publicly harm your fellow sect members." Looking at the crippled Chun-He, the first elder flew into a rage and loudly rebuked Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the head elder's anger at all. He looked at him with disdain and said, "Head elder, I think you're seeing things with your old age. Could it be that you didn't see that I was just carrying out the sect's rules? If so, what crime have I committed?" Mo Qingyun's words once again shocked everyone. They felt their heads buzzing. In the Ice Palace, even the Palace Master, Polar Snow, didn't dare to say that the first elder was old and blind. It had to be said that Mo Qingyun was too daring. Enforcing the sect's rules. What a good enforcing the sect's rules. The first elder was so angry that he laughed loudly. His body emitted a murderous aura as he said, "I'd like to ask you, who gave you the authority to enforce the sect's rules on a disciple?" Hearing the first elder's words, Mo Qingyun laughed disdainfully and said, "First elder, I think that besides being old and blind, your ears are also a little deaf. Didn't you hear that I was asking the Palace Master for instructions?" "That's right, I approved it." Polar Snow coldly nodded when he heard Mo Qingyun mention him. Seeing Mo Qingyun and Polar Snow echo each other, the first elder was so angry that his body trembled and he almost lost his mind. However, he wasn't an ordinary person after all. In the end, he suppressed his anger. Even though Chun-He's crippled cultivation had made him extremely angry, it wasn't worth it to spoil such an important matter for an unnamed disciple. Seeing that the first elder had calmed down, Mo Qingyun grinned at him and said, "First elder, since Chun-He's words don't count, let me ask you again. You said that I ambushed and killed my fellow disciples. Where is the witness? If there is no witness, I will sue you for the crime of slandering a disciple." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone's bodies trembled as their eyes widened. They didn't expect that after Mo Qingyun had forced the first elder to take a step back, he didn't stop while he was ahead. Instead, he took an inch and wanted a mile. This action was too crazy. It was no different from playing with fire and getting burned. Good, very good. I didn't think that I would one day suffer at the hands of a brat. Faced with Mo Qingyun's interrogation, the first elder was so angry that he gnashed his teeth and tightly clenched his fists. What angered him the most was that he couldn't do anything in the face of Mo Qingyun's interrogation. Soon after, the first elder forcefully suppressed his anger and said, "I was negligent in this matter. I am willing to accept any punishment. Palace Master, please punish me." Seeing the first elder's actions, everyone's gaze towards Mo Qingyun changed greatly. They never thought that the confrontation between Mo Qingyun and the first elder would end up like this. Chapter 2891. Hold on, I have a few words to say. Hall Master, Please listen to me before condemning him. Just as everyone was in awe of Mo Qingyun's performance, the second elder, who had been silent all this while, suddenly broke the silence. Hearing the second elder's words, everyone was shocked and turned to look at him. They had not expected the second elder to speak at this time. Seeing the second elder's actions, the expressions of the great elder's faction immediately turned ugly. In their opinion, the second elder and the great elder had always been at odds. For him to speak at this time, it must be to add insult to injury. When the great elder and the others thought of this, they immediately glared at the second elder with intense anger. The second elder didn't care about the first elder and the others' angry gazes. He waved his hand at Bing Mo and said, "Bing Mo, go and bring those people here. I think everyone will be very interested in what they have to say." Yes. Hearing the second elder's orders, Bing Mo immediately turned and left, bringing 4 middle-aged men with him. When the 4 middle-aged men arrived, they had fearful expressions on their faces as they bowed to Polar Snow and the others. "The 4 of you, truthfully tell everyone what you saw that day." Seeing the 4 men being brought over, the second elder waved his hand casually at them. Hearing the second elder's orders, the 4 of them had fearful expressions as they began to describe what they had seen. That day at the bottom of the Fire Sea, when we were looking for the 100-million-year-old fire coral, we happened to see Prince Bingzheng and the others. Prince Bingzheng and the others were 1 step ahead of us and found a 100-million-year-old fire coral. We could only watch from afar with envy. Who knew that there were 3 fire serpents guarding the 100-million-year-old fire coral? They discovered Prince Bingzheng and the others and attacked them. At this point, one of them pointed at Mo Qingyun and said, "Not long after, this prince arrived and secretly stole the 100-million-year-old fire coral." Perhaps he was worried that his plan would be exposed, so he ambushed Prince Bingzheng and the others and severely injured them. After injuring Prince Bingzheng and the others, he quickly escaped. The 4 of them spoke excitedly, as if they were watching a live broadcast. After the 4 of them finished speaking, the way everyone looked at Mo Qingyun underwent a huge change. They felt that Mo Qingyun would not be able to defend himself in such a situation. "Brat, they are not this old man's disciples. What else do you have to say?" After hearing the 4's words, the first elder sneered and immediately questioned Mo Qingyun. Seeing the great elder questioning Mo Qingyun, Bing Baijun and the others immediately tensed up. "This is bad. I didn't expect the second elder to interfere. Second elder is too sinister. He actually used such a method. Let's first think of a way to absolve Junior apprentice nephew Mo." Zhang Qingming and the others looked nervous as their minds spun quickly. Once Mo Qingyun was convicted, the first elder would definitely kill Mo Qingyun on the spot. The situation is not good. I wonder how he will deal with it. Looking at Mo Qingyun in front of her, Murong Nana's pretty face tensed up as she glanced at Polar Snow. Polar Snow clenched his fists and secretly accumulated saint power, ready to strike at any time. Clearly, Polar Snow was preparing to save Mo Qingyun if he was in danger. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun still looked indifferent. Looking at the 4 people the second elder had brought, he said, "Since the 4 of you are present, I will ask you a few simple questions." Without waiting for the 4 to answer, Mo Qingyun began to ask them. "When I attacked Bingzheng and the others, was the 3-headed flame serpent killed?" "No." "When I attacked Bingzheng and the others, was the 3-headed flame serpent noticed?" "Yes. When it saw you picking the 100-million-year-old fire coral, the 3-headed flame serpent attacked you." "Then, should I attack the 3-headed flame serpent first or Bingzheng and the others?" "Attack the 3-headed flame serpent first, but very well, I already have the answers I want." Mo Qingyun got the answers he wanted from the 4 of them. He revealed a satisfied smile and said, "The 4 of you said that when the 3-headed flame serpent was fighting with Bingzheng and the others, I took the opportunity to steal the 100-million-year-old fire coral. After I picked the 100-million-year-old fire coral, I attacked the three-headed flame serpent first. Doesn't this mean that I was helping Bing Zheng and the others and not attacking them? Don't you think you should explain? But you were the one who attacked and pushed Bing Zheng and the others to the bottom of the sea of fire. That's right. We saw it with our own eyes. It can't be fake. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had led them astray, the few of them immediately changed their tone. Unfortunately, even though they had changed their tone, it was of no use. You're right. Bing Zheng and the others were indeed pushed to the bottom of the sea of fire by me, but they brought it upon themselves. Faced with the four's questioning, Mo Qingyun's aura did not weaken at all. He calmly admitted the truth and said, "However, the truth is not what you said. When I helped Bing Zheng and the others to defeat the three-headed flame serpent, they saw that I had the 100-million-year-old fire coral and wanted to repay my kindness with ingratitude. They attacked me together. Unfortunately, they were too weak and were pushed to the bottom of the sea by me. After that, I remembered that they were from the same sect, so I did not kill them. This was a great favor to them. Is this wrong? If this is wrong, I don't mind killing them now to make up for my mistake. How dare you?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the first elder's face darkened, and he immediately shouted at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun did not care about the first elder's anger at all. He turned his head to look at the four and asked, "Tell me, did I do anything wrong?" No. Faced with Mo Qingyun's cold questioning, the four were immediately at a loss for words. They were so frightened that cold sweat broke out on their foreheads. They had personally witnessed Mo Qingyun's overbearing and ruthless behavior. If they angered Mo Qingyun would not hesitate to kill the four of them on the spot. Seeing that the four of them were silent, Mo Qingyun's face turned cold, and he continued to question them. "The four of you, tell me honestly, why did you twist the truth? Who ordered you to do this? What is your motive?" Faced with Mo Qingyun's questioning, the four of them panicked, and they could not help but look at the second elder. Seeing their actions, Mo Qingyun's gaze turned cold, and he looked at the second elder coldly. Seeing Mo Qingyun's behavior, everyone held their breaths, and their expressions became tense. Looking at Mo Qingyun's posture, it seemed that he was going to confront the second elder again. Chapter 2892. Second Elder, judging from their behavior, could it be that you ordered them to do this? Under everyone's nervous gazes, Mo Qingyun didn't disappoint them. He directly questioned the second elder. "If that's the case, please give me an explanation. I have no grudge against you. What is your motive for doing this? Even if you have a grudge with the great elder, I'd advise you not to use me as a blade and use me to eliminate the great elder. You can't use this knife of mine. Be careful that you don't hurt yourself." Mo Qingyun's domineering attitude left everyone dumbfounded. Their heads felt dizzy. Mo Qingyun had really insulted the second elder. Moreover, Mo Qingyun's attitude toward the second elder was even worse than the great elders. Boss Missouri is invincible. He's actually warning the second elder. This is too exciting. Following Boss Missouri really makes one's blood boil. Junior brother Mo is really awesome. No, he's the senior brother from now on, and I'm the junior brother. Senior brother Mo is too domineering. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Bing Baijun and the others were excited. They were full of admiration for Mo Qingyun. He had just insulted the great elder, and now he was warning the second elder. This kind of manipulation was too awesome. Who in the Ice Palace would dare to do what Mo Qingyun did? Even Polar Snow probably could not. For a moment, everyone looked at Mo Qingyun with intense fear in their eyes. They understood one thing. Mo Qingyun was not to be trifled with. If this guy did not have something to rely on, then he was a complete lunatic. No matter what the situation was, he was not someone ordinary people could afford to offend. So this is what this sinister old man is planning. No wonder he suddenly helped me out of kindness. The Grand Elder's eyes turned cold when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. His hatred for the second elder deepened. He said, "Second elder, I will definitely remember the kindness you've shown me today. When the Great Elder said this, the way everyone looked at Mo Qingyun changed again. As bystanders, they could see that because of Mo Qingyun's words, the first elder's hatred for the second elder had deepened. This indirectly meant that Mo Qingyun had done what the second elder wanted to do. More importantly, Mo Qingyun had deepened the hatred between the Great Elder and the Great Elder openly. This kind of method was quite brilliant. Old Polar Snow, this grand disciple of yours is really not simple. After seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Murong Nana could not help but sigh. I didn't expect these two old men to fall into the hands of Junior. Yes. After hearing Murong Nana's words, Polar Frost sighed ruefully and said, "Second Elder, you've really brought trouble upon yourself. You've shot yourself in the foot." Under everyone's gaze, the second elder's expression was calm. He did not show any emotion. Slowly putting down the teacup in his hand, the second elder finally looked at Mo Qingyun. He said calmly, "Little guy, your performance has surprised me. Your deductions earlier were very interesting too. Unfortunately, those were only your deductions. I disdain using such methods. These people have nothing to do with me." After the second elder finished speaking, he picked up his teacup and continued to sip his tea. He no longer paid any attention to Mo Qingyun. "Since that's the case, I can rest assured." Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction after hearing the second elder's reply. After a moment of thought, he said, "Second elder, let me remind you again. My performance will not only surprise you, it might also frighten you." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he looked at the four people and said coldly, "Umph. The four of you have twisted the truth and made up stories. You've provoked a fight between the same sect of my true demon hall. You deserve to die." With that, Mo Qingyun drew his divine, sort of 9 bulls, and swung it at the four of them. The 9-bull divine sword flashed and blasted out a sword light, sweeping toward the four people. When Mo Qingyun swung his sword, he also released a surge of nomological power, restricting the movements of the four people. Don't. Seeing Mo Qingyun's forceful attack, the four of them paled in fright. They hurriedly begged Mo Qingyun. Before they could finish speaking, the streak of light swallowed them whole. They were instantly obliterated. After killing the four of them, Mo Qingyun looked at the second elder and said, "Second elder, I've dealt with the four of them for you. Don't listen to the words of despicable people next time, just in case you bring trouble to yourself." Hearing Mo Qingyun's preaching, no matter how good the second elder's tolerance was, he was also somewhat enraged at this moment. However, thinking of Mo Qingyun's eloquence, he also forcefully endured it. Seeing the second elder shut his mouth too, the surrounding people were alarmed once more. Their fear of Mo Qingyun deepened. This person could not be provoked. After warning the second elder, Mo Qingyun swept a glance around and said in a cold voice, "Who else wants to stand out and be a witness for head elder?" With Mo Qingyun's words coming out, everyone unconsciously lowered their heads, not daring to meet Mo Qingyun's gaze. For a moment, the entire mountaintop was silent. No one dared to make the slightest sound. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun nodded his head in satisfaction. He revealed a brilliant smile and said, "Since no one stands out, this means that I've been wronged. If someone comes out to identify me later, don't blame me for being rude." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he turned around and walked towards Polar Snow, ignoring the people who were looking at each other in dismay. When he returned to Polar Snow's side, Mo Qingyun smiled at the head elder and said, "Head elder, regarding the matter of me saving Bing Zheng and the others, you don't have to thank me in your heart. I'm such a warm-hearted person." When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, the head elder was so angry that his face twitched once again. He gritted his teeth tightly. Mo Qingyun had gone too far. He had simply gone too far. Seeing that Mo Qingyun's matter had been resolved, Polar Snow's expression turned solemn. He said, "Who else has anything to say? If not, let's proceed with the divine exorcism ceremony. Palace Master, please wait a moment." I have something to say. Polar Snow had just finished speaking when the second elder put down his teacup and looked at Mo Qingyun with a cold smile. He said, I've received news that the sect's treasure, the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, is in the hands of this brat. I suspect that the old sect master's death has a lot to do with this brat. Whoosh! Everyone was stunned when they heard the second elder's words. Afterwards, everyone began to whisper to each other as shock filled their faces. The true Demon Hall's treasure was actually in the hands of Mo Qingyun. This news was like a clap of thunder. More importantly, the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell had disappeared with the old sect master. This made Mo Qingyun even more suspicious. Polar Snow and the others immediately tensed up when they heard the second elder's words. The second elder's move was far too vicious. They were completely unprepared, so it was very difficult for them to help Mo Qingyun. If they interfered, they might be accused of harboring or even being an accomplice. Chapter 2893. Second Elder, this matter is of great importance. You can't speak carelessly. Polar Snow's face darkened as he broke the silence and warned the second elder. The second elder didn't care about Polar Snow's warning at all. A cold smile appeared on his face as he said, Hall Master, if it weren't for the fact that I don't have any evidence, I wouldn't dare to make such a claim. As soon as the second elder finished speaking, he took out a 7-colored stone and said, This is a fantasy image imprinting stone. Everyone should be very interested in the images recorded in it. As soon as the second elder finished speaking, he formed a hand seal and hit the fantasy image imprinting stone. Then, the fantasy image imprinting stone shone brightly and a projection appeared. In the projection, Mo Qingyun held a 9-bull divine sword and pierced through Huapogang's head. After Huapogang's head was pierced through, his aura became chaotic and his body looked like it was about to explode. At this time, Mo Qingyun took out an ancient clock and covered Huapogang. Then, Huapogang was covered by the ancient clock and self-detonated inside it. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding people were shocked. They all stared at Mo Qingyun with wide eyes. It's really the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. I didn't expect the sect's most precious treasure to be with him. Could it be that this brat is really related to the death of the old sect master? Whether or not he's related, we can't let this brat go. Looking at the image just now, everyone's hostility toward Mo Qingyun rose to the extreme. Looking at the reaction of the people around, the first elder sneered and said, Brat, you hit it really well. If it wasn't for the second elder's careful observation, we would have been fooled by you. The first elder's provocation caused everyone's hostility towards Mo Qingyun to immediately become stronger. Polar Snow's expression turned even uglier when he saw this scene. He said coldly, Quiet down. There's more to this matter. Let this old man tell you in detail. Murong Nana and the others had already told him the details of the matter. It wasn't like what was shown in the image. The second elder took things out of context like this. Clearly, he had ulterior motives and was misleading everyone. Hall Master, now that the evidence is irrefutable, are you still going to continue to protect him? Seeing Polar Snow's actions, the second elder sneered proudly. He directly questioned Polar Snow. I remember that back then, it was your disciple, Ba Bailai, who said that the purple heaven holy land had the inheritance of the heaven realm. He tricked the old sect master into entering the purple heaven holy land, causing him to be missing to this day. This kid is Bob Bailey's disciple, and he has the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell with him. Isn't this too much of coincidence? With just a few words, the second elder had pinned a huge label on Mo Qingyun, making it impossible for him to clear his name. According to the second elder, Babel had killed the old leader and obtained the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell. Then, he had given it to Mo Qingyun. Although they knew the second elder's intentions, Polar Snow and the others were at a loss for words. They did not know how to defend themselves. Seeing that Polar Snow and the others were at a loss for words, the first elder did not hesitate any longer. He directly rushed towards Mo Qingyun and shouted, Kid, when you were feeling proud just now, did you ever think of this moment? As the first elder spoke, he did not show any mercy. He directly raised his hand to grab Mo Qingyun. Seeing that the first elder was about to make a move on Mo Qingyun, Polar Snow's expression turned cold. He immediately stood in front of Mo Qingyun and said, "First elder, I already know the reason for this matter. When a young hall master comes out of her seclusion, I will personally explain it to her." As Polar Snow spoke, he also struck out with his palm, preventing the first elder from capturing Mo Qingyun. Boom! A terrifying saint power blasted out from Polar Snow's palm, forcing the first elder to retreat. Seeing Polar Snow's attack, the first elder and the others were stunned. Their faces were filled with intense shock. Polar Snow's injuries had healed. Not only that, but the strength that Polar Snow had just displayed seemed to be even stronger than before. This unforeseen event was too out of his expectations. So the Hallmaster's injuries have healed. No wonder this kid dares to be so fearless. Seeing Polar Snow's reaction, the second elder's expression was slightly shocked. He mocked Polar Snow and said, "Hallmaster, even if you have a high reputation in the true Demon Palace, you can't cover up the real culprit who killed the old Hallmaster. Otherwise, you will ruin your reputation." The second elder's words seemed to be persuading Polar Snow, but in reality, he was putting a label on Polar Snow. He was indirectly telling everyone that Mo Qingyun dared to do this because he was instructed by Polar Snow. As expected, after hearing the second elder's words, everyone looked at Polar Snow with intense hatred in their eyes. "Second elder, I've already made it clear just now. I will personally tell the young hall master about this matter." Polar Frost ignored the second elder's mockery and replied coldly, "That's right." At this moment, as soon as Polar Snow finished speaking, two old men with fiery auras walked out from the crowd behind the second elder. One of them said, "Hall Master Polar Snow, there are some things that are better explained now." Polar Snow and the others trembled when they saw the two old men appear. He said in shock, "Punishment Hall Grand Elder Ying Guang, Fire Hall Grand Elder Huopuqing, why are they here?" After a brief moment of surprise, Polar Snow's expression turned cold, and a strong sense of anger arose. The second elder was getting more and more overboard. He was actually colluding with the Fire Hall so openly. Polar Snow's expression tensed up when he saw Yun Guang and Huopuqing slowly approaching. He knew that they had come prepared. Moreover, the two of them might not have come to deal with Mo Qingyun. It was very likely that they wanted to use this matter to get rid of them all in one fell swoop. It had to be said that the second elder's move was too ruthless. "The two of you, today is the Ice Hall's sacred ceremony of sealing demon. Please forgive me for not having the time to entertain you." Polar Snow's expression was cold as he looked at Yun Guang and Huopuqing in front of him. He directly ordered them to leave. Huopuqing sneered disdainfully at Polar Snow's order to leave. He said, "Hall Master Polar Snow, why are you in such a hurry to leave? Could it be that you have a guilty conscience?" After questioning Polar Snow, Huopuqing pointed at Mo Qingyun and said, "I have no interest in knowing whether or not the purple lightning heaven sealing bell is with him. However, he killed my Fire Hall's Grand Elder Huopuqing. I absolutely cannot let this matter go. Now, I must capture him and bring him to the Fire Hall. He must be punished by our Fire Hall to comfort Grand Elder Huopuqing's soul in heaven." After Huopuqing finished speaking, he attacked Mo Qingyun, preparing to take Mo Qingyun away by force. Seeing Huopuqing's action, Polar Snow immediately stood in front of Mo Qingyun and shouted angrily, "This old man has already said that I will personally report this matter to the young hallmaster. Before that, no one can touch a single hair on Mo Qingyun's head." "Polar Snow, I think you're being stubborn. You're deliberately covering up for him." Seeing Polar Snow's action, the second elder's face sank. He immediately criticized, "It's a great shame for the Ice Hall to have a hall master like you. You're simply unworthy of being the hall master." Hearing the second elder's words, the surrounding people immediately echoed, expressing their dissatisfaction with Polar Snow. Chapter 2894. Polar Snow doesn't deserve to be the Hall Master. We should change the Hall Master. I think the First Elder is a good choice. We should elect the First Elder. Although the First Elder has a high reputation, he is not as meticulous as the Second Elder. I suggest the Second Elder be the Hall Master. Polar Snow should step down immediately. The Second Elder will replace Polar Snow as the Hall Master. Excited words came out from the mouths of the crowd. Slowly, the Second Elder replacing Polar Snow as the Hall Master became the Hall Master. Polar Snow's face darkened when he saw this. Even the First Elder had an ugly expression on his face. He did not expect the final winner of today's book of Demon Sealing to be the Second Elder who had been silent earlier. Seeing that the situation was slowly falling into his control, the Second Elder smiled coldly and said, "Polar Snow, you saw it too. This is what the people want. As the saying goes, a just cause enjoys abundant support. An unjust cause finds little support. This is the situation now. You will lose the support of the people if you continue to be unjust." Humph! Polar Snow harumphed coldly when he heard the Second Elder's words. He was so angry that he cannot speak. The Second Elder's plan was too meticulous. He did not even have a chance to retaliate. This made him feel very sullen and angry, but there was nothing he could do. Seeing that Polar Snow was no longer speaking, the Second Elder proudly raised his head and said in a commanding tone, "Polar Snow, I order you to step aside immediately. If you dare to stop me again, I will convict you of being an accomplice." "You!" Polar Snow's face turned ashen when he heard the Second Elder's words. He gritted his teeth in anger. This guy was clearly acting like he was the Hall Master now. At this moment, while Polar Snow was furious, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said with a smile, "Grandmaster, step aside and watch me deal with him." "Okay." Polar Snow did not understand Mo Qingyun's words, but he nodded in agreement. After telling Polar Snow and the others to step aside, Mo Qingyun looked at the Second Elder and said, "Second Elder, you don't have a good memory. Have you thought about the consequences of scheming against me? Brat, you're about to die, and you're still trying to be mysterious. You're still too inexperienced if you want to fight with me." In response to Mo Qingyun's words, the Second Elder was so pleased with himself that he lost his sense of measure. He then said, "Let me give you a word of advice. If you don't want to make trouble for yourself, then obediently surrender and hand over the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Don't be in such a hurry. Take a look at something first. We can talk about this later." Mo Qingyun replied with a faint smile. Then he turned to Bing Shuang and said in a commanding tone, "Bing Shuang, present the complete image in your hands to everyone." "Yes, Master." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Bing Shuang nodded respectfully. Seeing Bing Shuang's actions, the Second Elder's face trembled and turned pale. The image in his hand was the one he had obtained from Bing Long. He had cut out a portion of it. He knew very well what the result would be if he played the complete video. What shocked him even more was that Bing Shuang had actually acknowledged allegiance to Mo Qingyun. Didn't this mean that Mo Qingyun had already known that he had cut out the image? Oh no, I've been tricked. When he thought about how Mo Qingyun had already known that he had cut out the image, the Second Elder felt uneasy. If he had guessed correctly, everything he was doing now was within Mo Qingyun's calculations. Everything he was doing now might be part of Mo Qingyun's plan. When the Second Elder thought of this, he felt a chill run down his spine. His fear of Mo Qingyun had reached its peak. "Brat, you're still too inexperienced if you want to fight with me." Although the Second Elder was panicking, he immediately thought of a way to deal with this. He flew towards Bing Shuang and shouted, "Bastard, you actually recognized a thief as your master. Today, I will put righteousness before family and slaughter you in front of everyone." Without hesitation, the Second Elder blasted a palm strike towards Bing Shuang as soon as he said that. To him, at this point, he could only abandon the rook to save the king. As long as he killed Bing Shuang and destroyed the illusionary image branding stone in his hand, Mo Qingyun would have 100 excuses. Get lost. Without waiting for the Second Elder to make a move, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and slashed at him with his sword. Mo Qingyun waved the nine-bull divine sword and blasted out a sword light, blocking the second elder's path. Facing the sword light, the second elder did not retreat at all. Instead, he slapped the sword light forcefully. To him, there was no way out now. He had to kill Bing Shuang. If Bing Shuang did not die and played the image, they would be the ones who would die. How? How could this be? When the second elder blasted out his palm, he was shocked and his eyes widened. He realized that the palm shadow that he had blasted out did not stop the sword light at all. The sword light pierced through the palm shadow and blasted the second elder's body, leaving a hideous wound. Puff! After being hit by the sword light, the second elder was immediately sent flying and spat out a large mouthful of blood. When the second elder was sent flying by Mo Qingyun's sword, it immediately shocked the surrounding people. All of them widened their eyes in shock. How could this kid be so powerful? Even polar snow can't injure the second elder with one sword. So this is what he is relying on. He is not using polar snow to intimidate others. Everyone was amazed. While everyone was marveling, the first elder's body trembled and he felt a lingering fear. His strength was not stronger than the second elder's. If Mo Qingyun could injure the second elder with one sword, he could definitely injure him with one sword. Old man Polar Ice, you've really hidden your strength well. You've left such a ruthless chess piece behind. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the first elder sighed unwillingly. His aura suddenly weakened a lot. Looking at him, it was as if he had suddenly aged, without the slightest trace of a superior. If nothing unexpected happened, Mo Qingyun's shocking performance made him give up on fighting for the position of Hallmaster. After forcing the second elder back with one sword strike, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and waved, taking the fantasy imagery branding stone from Bing Shuang. With the fantasy imagery branding stone in his hand, Mo Qingyun activated it, causing the images within to appear. Immediately, the images of Huapo Gang and the others ambushing Mo Qingyun's group and activating the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Seeing this scene, everyone was petrified. They did not dare to believe that this was real. After all this time, it turned out that the second elder was a thief pretending to be a thief. Mo Qingyun was really wronged. I didn't expect him to leave Bing Shuang alive so that he could use it now. This is a good move. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Murong Nana revealed an expression of admiration and sighed emotionally. Hearing Murong Nana's words, Polar Snow nodded emotionally and said, Second Elder would never have dreamed that his own son would betray him. He can't blame himself for losing this time. He can only blame himself for being superior to Qingyun chess. Immediately, the way they looked at Mo Qingyun changed. It was the second elder's misfortune to have encountered an enemy like Mo Qingyun. Chapter 2895. Seeing that the truth had been revealed, Mo Qingyun turned to look at Huapiqing with a faint smile on his face. Sensing Mo Qingyun's gaze, Huapiqing's body clearly trembled, and his expression became tense. He faintly felt that Mo Qingyun looking at him now was definitely not a good thing. Great Elder of the Fire Hall, don't be too nervous. I just want to ask a question. Looking at Huapiqing's tense expression, Mo Qingyun asked with a kind smile. Just now, you said that whoever has the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell might be the one who killed the old Hallmaster. I want to ask you, does the fact that the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell is in Huapo Gang's hands mean that he killed the old Hallmaster? No, the old Hallmaster's strength is monstrous. Huapo Gang alone is definitely not enough to kill him. Could it be that the entire Fire Hall worked together? After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he deliberately took a few steps back, as if he was on guard against Huapiqing. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone's gaze towards Huapiqing immediately became gloomy and cold. Feeling everyone's cold gaze, Huapiqing's face twitched continuously. With a nervous expression, he retorted, Ew, you're talking nonsense. How could we possibly kill the old hall master? Is that so? Mo Qingyun smiled playfully and said, then why don't you explain why the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell is in Huapogang's hands? Since the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell is in Huapogang's hands, why are you slandering my master Babailai, saying that he killed the previous palace master? How would I know this? You should ask Huapogang. Facing Mo Qingyun's questioning, Huapeching completely lost his sense of propriety, and his words were full of loopholes. Seeing Huapeching's performance, Mo Qingyun's smile deepened, and he didn't continue to ask. In his opinion, the result was already very obvious, and there was no point in continuing to ask. With Huapeching's identity, he couldn't kill him by force. Otherwise, it might cause unnecessary trouble and put him in a passive situation. Withdrawing his gaze from Huapeching, Mo Qingyun looked at Yun Guang and said, Punishment Hall First Elder, the matters of the fire hall shouldn't have anything to do with the punishment hall, right? Oomph. There's no need for you to remind me. I know what to do. Yin Guang snorted coldly in response to Mo Qingyun's question. He clasped his hands at Polar Ice and said, Hall Master Polar Ice, I have offended you before. I hope you can forgive me. I still have matters to attend to, so I'll be taking my leave now. As soon as Yin Guang finished speaking, he turned around and left. Seeing Yin Guang turn around and leave, Huapeching didn't dare to stay any longer and immediately followed behind Yin Guang. Mo Qingyun did not stop the two of them from leaving. Instead, he turned to look at the second elder. Seeing Mo Qingyun looking at him, the second elder trembled in fright. He immediately shouted to Huapeching and Yin Guang, Elder Huapeching, Elder Yin Guang, please wait for this old man. As the second elder spoke, he chased after Huapeching and Yin Guang. However, before the second elder could fly far, he was stopped by Mo Qingyun. Seeing that his path was blocked by Mo Qingyun, the second elder trembled in fright and said, What do you want to do? What do I want to do? Don't you know, second elder? Hearing the second elder's question, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, As the second elder of the Ice Hall, you colluded with the Fire Hall's elder Huapogang to harm your fellow disciples. How do you think you should be punished? Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the second elder's face turned as white as paper, and his body trembled in fright. Ignoring the second elder's fear, Mo Qingyun turned to look at the great elder and asked, Great elder, tell me, how should the second elder be punished for his crimes? Oomph. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the great elder immediately snorted coldly with a displeased expression. He was very clear that Mo Qingyun wanted him to say this as a warning. Although he was very displeased, the great elder still said coldly, he should be punished for his crimes. Hearing the great elder's words, the second elder's expression turned crazy. He immediately pounced at Mo Qingyun and roared, Brat, you ruined my plans. Even if this old man dies today, you must pay the price. Facing the second elder's attack, Mo Qingyun didn't care in the slightest and directly slashed at him with his sword. With a wave of Mo Qingyun's nine-bull divine sword, a sword ray shot out and blocked the second elder's path. Facing the incoming sword ray, the second elder learned his lesson and didn't dare to take it head-on. He immediately tried to dodge. However, just as he was about to dodge, a tyrannical spatial imprisonment power sealed the space around him. Seeing this situation, the second elder's expression became flustered and his face turned ashen. Then, despair appeared on his face as he was swallowed by the sword ray. Brat, you ruined my master's plans. You won't have a good ending. After the second elder was swallowed by the sword ray, he roared crazily and acted like a lunatic. As the second elder roared loudly, the aura he emitted started to become violent. You want to self-destruct. Seeing the second elder's behavior, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and immediately took out the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Then, the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell enveloped the second elder and isolated him from the storm caused by his self-destruction. After a while, when the storm caused by the second elder's self-destruction dissipated, Mo Qing Yun put away the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Seeing Mo Qing Yun's action, the surrounding people had complicated expressions and looked at him with respect. They couldn't believe that even with the Second Elder's astonishing means, he had still been defeated by Mo Qing Yun. What made them even more shocked was that Mo Qing Yun had actually used the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell in front of everyone. It had to be said that Mo Qing Yun's action was really too daring. Ignoring the crowd's reaction, Mo Qing Yun walked to Polar Snow and said, "Master, the matter has been settled. I will return to my residence first." After Mo Qing Yun finished speaking, he immediately left and let Polar Snow finish the job. Okay. Polar Snow agreed to Mo Qing Yun's request without hesitation. To him, all the hidden dangers of the Ice Palace had been eliminated by Mo Qing Yun. What he had to do next was much simpler, and he didn't need Mo Qing Yun's help. Then, Mo Qing Yun leisurely left the mountain peak under everyone's gaze. Because of Mo Qing Yun's performance, everyone's respect for Polar Snow was raised to the extreme. Soon after, no one dared to disobey Polar Snow's words. After that, the sacred book of exorcism went exceptionally smoothly, smoother than any of the previous editions. After leaving the mountain peak, Mo Qing Yun returned to his residence. He recalled the Second Elder's words and thought to himself, "I didn't expect that with the Second Elder's strength, he was only that person's chess piece. Looks like that master isn't simple." The death of the true Inception demon, Hall's old Hall master, should have a lot to do with him. Mo Qing Yun understood this point and raised his guard, guarding against that master's revenge. Chapter 2896. When Mo Qing Yun returned to his residence, he entered the Fortune mainland and focused on refining Gu Fan's soul. That unknown great lord had given him a lot of pressure, so he needed to raise his strength as soon as possible. While Mo Qing Yun was refining Gu Fan's soul, he did not stop paying attention to the outside world, communicating with Bing Shuang from time to time. From Bing Shuang's voice transmission, Huang Xiaolong learned that Bing Mo had been imprisoned by Polar Snow after the Second Elder's death. Bing Shuang had submitted to Mo Qing Yun, so not only was he not punished, he was even placed in an important position by Polar Snow. In a few short days, Bing Shuang had replaced the Second Elder, taking over all of the Second Elder's affairs. As for the Grand Elder, he had said that he would no longer interfere with the Ice Hall's affairs after the holy ceremony of sealing Devil ended. After the Grand Elder retired, his eldest son, Ice Wolf Gu, took over all his affairs. Following the Grand Elder's retirement, all the hidden dangers of the Ice Hall were basically resolved. Now, there was no one in the Ice Hall who dared to go against Polar Snow's will. When Polar Snow regained his power, Yu Rong and the others immediately came to apologize, begging for forgiveness. However, Polar Snow did not show any mercy, directly crippling their cultivation and expelling them from the true Devil Hall, leaving them to fend for themselves. Other than these matters, Mo Qing Yun also received a piece of shocking news from Bing Shuang. 3 months later, Polar Snow was going to marry Murong Nana. This news was no doubt a heavy bomb. However, thinking of Polar Snow and Murong Nana's relationship, Mo Qing Yun felt relieved. Looks like I have to make a trip out in 3 months. After learning that Polar Snow and Murong Nana were going to get married in 3 months, Mo Qing Yun made a decision in his heart. Then, he immersed himself in cultivation, no longer asking about the true Devil Hall's matters. While Mo Qing Yun was in seclusion, and Chun was not idling around, hiding in the Grand Misty to cultivate. In the following days, everything was calm, as if the calm after a storm. 3 months passed in a flash. At this moment, Mo Qing Yun slowly opened his eyes and said, "It took me 3 months to refine 60% of Gu Fan's spirit. That's a little faster than I expected." When he saw his cultivation speed, Mo Qing Yun revealed a satisfied smile, and his figure flashed to the primordial fog sea. He wanted to see how much Enchun had improved in the past 3 months. Enchun had a powerful background, and his cultivation speed was far from what an ordinary person could compare to. He couldn't be judged by common sense. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, Qingyun wouldn't have known how much Enchun had improved. Pinnacle Sector Lord Realm. Qingyun was shocked when he sensed Enchun's aura after arriving in the Hongmeng Fog Sea. Although he was prepared and knew that Enchun's improvement would be shocking, he was still shocked. In a short 3 months, he had broken through from the intermediate Sector Lord Realm to the pinnacle of the Sector Lord Realm. This cultivation speed was too terrifying. Enchun's cultivation has skyrocketed. It's also a good thing for me. Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile when he thought about how Enchun's strength had increased and how much help it would be to him. For people like ZK and the others, their cultivation was too low. Even if they were given a large amount of cultivation materials, they still couldn't catch up to Qingyun's footsteps. They couldn't help Qingyun anymore. Qingyun was helpless when it came to such matters. Now that Enchun's cultivation speed was able to catch up to his footsteps, he was naturally very happy. It's about time I should go see Master. After learning about Enchun's situation, Qingyun didn't stay any longer and left the Fortune Mainland. After Qingyun left the Fortune Mainland, he went to Polar Snow's residence to ask about the recent movements of the true absolute beginning Devil Hall. Although Bing Long had replaced the Second Elder, there was still a gap between his status and Polar Snow's. Therefore, he still didn't have the qualifications to know about the true absolute beginning Devil Hall. In Polar Snow's residence. Brat, you're finally willing to come out of seclusion. Polar Snow revealed a faint smile when he saw Qingyun's arrival. If you hadn't come out of seclusion, this old man would have forcefully dragged you out. Qingyun smiled at Polar Snow's teasing and said, "Fortunately, I came out in time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the face to see Martial Ancestor again if I missed the wedding." Polar Snow shook his head helplessly when he heard Qingyun's self-mockery. "Brat, your mouth is really too good." Qingyun laughed embarrassedly and returned to the topic at hand. "Martial Ancestor, have there been any strange movements in the other halls recently?" "I didn't notice any strange movements." Polar Snow shook his head. His expression tensed up as he said, "Not only are there no unusual movements, the various palaces are also unusually calm. It's too calm, it's not normal. We have to be on guard." Qingyun's expression turned serious when he heard Polar Snow's words. He hurriedly reminded Polar Snow. Sometimes if it was too calm, it was a sign of a storm. "I hope that this old man's wedding will be more peaceful." Polar Snow couldn't help but sigh when he thought of his wedding. He silently looked forward to it. Qingyun didn't say much about Polar Snow's worries. He had an ominous feeling that Polar Snow's wedding wouldn't be peaceful. Although he had this feeling, Qingyun didn't say much. He was afraid that it would affect Polar Snow's mood. After chatting with Qingyun for a while, Polar Snow suddenly slapped his head and said, "That's right, I almost forgot about something important. The Young Hall Master has instructed me to bring you to the Thunder Hall to see her after you come out of seclusion." "The Young Hall Master wants to see me?" Qingyun was stunned when he heard Polar Snow's words. He was puzzled. He didn't seem to have any interactions with the Young Hall Master. Seeing the puzzled expression on Qingyun's face, Polar Snow explained, "The Young Hall Master wants to see you because of the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Have you thought of what to do? We'll see when the time comes. If her attitude is good, I'll give her the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. If not..." Qingyun stopped halfway through his words. His meaning couldn't be more obvious. Polar Snow shook his head when he saw Qingyun's plan. He couldn't do anything about Qingyun. After interacting with Qingyun for so long, he had a clear understanding of Qingyun's temper. If Qingyun decided on something, he wouldn't give in easily, no matter who the other party was. "Let's go. I'll bring you to see the Young Hall Master." After informing Qingyun, Polar Snow didn't want to waste any more time and immediately led the way. When he saw Polar Snow's actions, Qingyun didn't think much of it and followed behind him calmly. With Polar Snow's status in the true absolute beginning Demon Hall It was obviously impossible for him to hide from the young hallmaster. If that was the case, there was no point in him running away. He would have to disagree with the other party sooner or later. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he calmed down. Chapter 2897. Qingyun, the young palace master, is the #1 beauty in the Tai Chu star realm. Don't lose your composure when you see her. Polar Snow reminded Mo Qingyun with a nervous expression on his face as they made their way to the young palace master. Mo Qingyun shrugged nonchalantly in response to Polar Snow's reminder. Don't worry, Grandmaster. I'm still able to control myself. That's good. Polar Snow's expression relaxed a little upon hearing Mo Qingyun's reply. He didn't doubt Mo Qingyun's words at all. He believed that since Mo Qingyun had said so, there definitely wouldn't be any problems. Polar Snow led the way and brought Mo Qingyun to the foot of a mountain. This place seems a little familiar. It's as if I've been here before. Mo Qingyun furrowed his brows as he looked at the mountain before him. A sense of familiarity welled up in his heart. Mo Qingyun was puzzled for a moment before shaking his head. He felt like he was overthinking things. He didn't know the young palace master, so how could he have been to her residence before? Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived at a small courtyard under Polar Snow's guidance. Polar Snow has brought Mo Qingyun here to seek an audience with the young palace master. Standing outside the small courtyard, Polar Frost stopped in his tracks and bowed toward the courtyard. Polar Snow had just finished speaking when a pleasant voice sounded from within the courtyard. Grandpa Polar Snow, there's no need for such formalities. Please come in. Yes. Polar Snow nodded and led Mo Qingyun into the courtyard. He was about to introduce Mo Qingyun to the young palace master. However, he was completely dumbfounded when he saw Mo Qingyun's expression. This was because he saw Mo Qingyun staring at the young palace master with a shocked expression on his face. There was no need to mention how rude that was. No, to be exact, it was an offense. It was a blasphemy toward beauty. Sigh, he's still too young. Polar Snow obviously didn't know that Mo Qingyun was behaving like this because he had a chance encounter with the young palace master. Furthermore, the circumstances of their encounter were extremely ambiguous. Young Hall Master Qingyun, after calming himself down, Polar Snow prepared to help Mo Qingyun explain. However, before Polar Snow could say anything, he saw a cold glint in the young Hall Master's eyes. He glared at Mo Qingyun and said coldly, "Pervert, die." As soon as the young Hall Master finished speaking, he attacked Mo Qingyun. It was as if he would not stop until one of them was dead. Young Hall Master, please show mercy. We can talk this out. Seeing the young Hall Master's actions, Polar Snow felt a headache coming on. He hurriedly tried to dissuade the young Hall Master. The young Palace Master's expression turned cold when he saw Ice Pole blocking his way. He shouted, "Palace Master Ice Pole, this is none of your business. Step aside immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." In her rage, the young Hall Master changed the way she addressed Polar Snow. Seeing this situation, Polar Snow felt extremely depressed. He knew that the young Hall Master was angry. "Martial Ancestor, please leave first. Let me handle this myself." Seeing that Polar Snow was in a difficult position, Mo Qingyun reminded him. He did not want him to be stuck in the middle. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Polar Snow looked at the young Hall Master and left the courtyard. After Polar Snow left the courtyard, Mo Qingyun went to the purple lightning heaven sealing bell and covered himself and the young Hall Master. He did not want a third person to know about him and the young Hall Master. If this matter were spread, he would not be able to deal with it easily no matter how capable he was. "How dare you use my sex most precious treasure?" Seeing that Mo Qingyun had activated the purple lightning heaven sealing bell, the young Hall Master's anger immediately intensified. Mo Qingyun did not care about the young Hall Master's anger at all. With a calm expression, he said, "Miss, what you said is wrong. Since the purple lightning heaven sealing bell is the most precious treasure of the true beginning demon hall, how could it fall into the hands of others?" Furthermore, if I did not activate the purple lightning heaven sealing bell, the things between us would have been known by the martial ancestor. Say that again and see. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the young home master's face turned red. She threatened Mo Qingyun coldly. Mo Qingyun did not care about the young home master's warning at all. He looked at her with a complicated gaze and said, "Similar, really too similar. How can you be so similar?" "What do you mean?" Seeing Mo Qingyun's abnormal behavior, the young home master frowned and looked coldly at Mo Qingyun. She faintly felt that Mo Qingyun's gaze seemed to contain complicated emotions. That kind of feeling was like sadness, like longing, like love, and also like self-reproach. In short, the way Mo Qingyun looked at her was very complicated. It made her feel complicated as well, as if something had grabbed her. Why do I have such a feeling? A strange feeling arose in her heart. The young home master frowned and stopped attacking Mo Qingyun. Then, she stared at Mo Qingyun curiously and said, "You know me? What do you mean when you say similar?" Seeing that the young home master had stopped attacking, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed. He shook his head with a faint smile and said, "Nothing. It's just that your appearance is very similar to my wife's. You actually dared to speak frivolously of me." As soon as Mo Qingyun said that, the young home master was immediately enraged. She clenched her teeth tightly. She did not expect that Mo Qingyun would give her such an answer. After coldly shouting at Mo Qingyun, the young home master said with a cold expression, "Since you helped me find the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, I'll spare your life. Leave the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell behind, and you can go." "That won't do." Mo Qingyun directly rejected the young home master's request. He said, "I spent a lot of effort to get this heaven-sealing purple lightning bell from Huapogang. I can't accept that you want me to hand it over with just one sentence. Don't push your luck." Seeing that Mo Qingyun had rejected her request, the young home master's expression turned cold. She said, "Tell me, what do you want in order for you to hand over the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell?" "I can't give it to you right now. I'll come find you after Grandmaster's wedding is over." Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and gave the young home master an answer. His expression also turned cold. He said, "I feel that Grandmaster's wedding will not be peaceful. Something big might happen. At that time, the person who schemed against your father might also appear." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the young home master's beautiful eyes trembled. After a moment of silence, she said, "I hope you're not lying to me. Otherwise, I won't spare you. Get out of my place immediately." Mo Qingyun shook his head helplessly in the face of the young home master's attempt to chase him away. He put away the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Soon after, he walked out of the courtyard and nodded at Polar Snow. He said, "Grandmaster, let's go back." Polar Snow did not have any reaction to Mo Qingyun's words. He looked at Mo Qingyun in shock. That was because he saw that Mo Qingyun had put away the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell and did not hand it over to the young home master. This result really shocked him to the point that he couldn't comprehend it. Chapter 2898. This kid is really something. He even managed to deal with the young home master. Polar Snow was stunned for a moment. Then he couldn't help but sigh. He clearly saw the young home master trying to kill Mo Qingyun just now. However, not only did the young home master fail to kill Mo Qingyun, but he also didn't take back the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. The difference was too big, and it felt a little unreal. Polar Snow shook his head and got rid of the distracting thoughts in his mind. He sighed and said, "No matter what method Qingyun used, as long as the conflict between him and the young home master can be resolved." Polar Snow muttered to himself, then left the young home master's residence with Mo Qingyun. Soon, Mo Qingyun and Polar Snow returned to the Ice Palace and continued to arrange the wedding banquet. What surprised Mo Qingyun and Polar Snow was that when they found Bing Baijun and the others, they found that they were all frowning. "What's wrong? What happened?" Polar Ice frowned when he saw Bing Baijun and the others, and immediately asked them about it. Under Polar Snow's questioning, the few of them exchanged glances. Then, Bingpingyu broke the silence and said, "Father, the kitchen just sent news that all the fish ingredients have disappeared." "All the fish ingredients are missing?" Polar Snow's expression turned serious when he heard Bingpingyu's report. He said angrily, "Someone must be deliberately causing trouble. Go and prepare again immediately. I'll find a way to find the troublemaker." "Father, it's easy to prepare the ordinary fish ingredients, but there are a few that we can't get." Bingpingyu looked troubled and explained the situation to Polar Snow. "The Ice Palace doesn't have any stock of blazing ice dragon blood sturgeon, clear jade dragonthorn fish, and fantaglass fish. Even if we go to the Starry Sky Commerce House to buy them, I'm afraid it's too late. The only way is to go to the Sea of Ice and the Azure Lake to hunt." Polar Snow looked troubled when he heard Bingpingyu's words. "It's not a problem to enter the Sea of Ice, but to enter the Azure Lake, we'll have to ask the young Hall Master." At the thought of having to ask the young Hall Master for instructions, Polar Snow felt a headache coming on. He subconsciously slapped his forehead. Upon seeing Polar Snow's expression, Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment before saying, "Grandmaster, you guys go to the Sea of Ice. Leave the blue sky begonia to me. Senior brother Mo, please don't be rash." Young Hall Master. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's thoughts, Bing Baijuan's expression trembled, and she immediately tried to persuade him. However, before he could finish speaking, Polar Snow glared at him, scaring him into shutting his mouth. After making Bing Baijun shut her mouth, Polar Snow smiled faintly and nodded at Mo Qingyun. He said, "It's good that you give it a try. If the young temple master doesn't agree, you don't have to be too insistent. At most, I'll get someone to change the recipe for this dish and spread some gossip." "Yes." Mo Qingyun nodded. After that, he left directly without wasting any time. Watching Mo Qingyun walk away, Bing Baijun couldn't help but ask Polar Frost, "Grandpa, you asked senior brother Mo to find the young Hall Master. If he angers the young Hall Master, the consequences will be unimaginable." "Yes." Bingpingyu and the others agreed. They knew Mo Qingyun's character very well. Given Mo Qingyun's character, it was very likely that he would offend the young Hall Master. By then, it would definitely turn the world upside down. It was terrifying to even think about the consequences. Polar Snow wasn't surprised at all by everyone's concern. If he hadn't seen Mo Qingyun take back the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell, he wouldn't have dared to ask Mo Qingyun to do so. However, after seeing Mo Qingyun take back the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell, his thoughts changed. In his opinion, since Mo Qingyun could take back the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell, it shouldn't be difficult for him to ask to enter the Azure Frost Lake. You don't have to worry. Getting Qingyun to ask the young Hall Master is the most appropriate choice. Under everyone's worried gazes, Polar Frost comforted them. Then, with a profound expression, he said, "Just now, I brought Qingyun to the Thunder Hall to meet the young Hall Master. I thought Qingyun would hand over the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell, but unexpectedly, he brought it back and the young Hall Master didn't stop him. Since he can take back the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell, it shouldn't be difficult for him to enter the Azure Frost Lake." After hearing Polar Snow's words, Bing Baijun and the others were dumbfounded and in disbelief. How is that possible? Didn't the young Hall Master summon senior brother Mo to take back the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell? Boss Missouri is so awesome that he can even handle the young Hall Master. The young Hall Master didn't take back the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell. Could it be that she fell in love with Boss Missouri at first sight and gave it to him as a betrothal gift? Senior brother Mo is so awesome. Do we have to call the young Hall Master sister-in-law when we see her in the future? Bing Baijun and the others thought for a while, and then they were full of admiration for Mo Qingyun. Polar Snow was speechless when he saw Bing Baijun and the others' reaction. "Love at first sight, my ass. What nonsense are you talking about? If the young Hall Master knows about this, she'll teach you a lesson." Thinking of how terrifying the young Hall Master was, Bing Baijun and the others trembled and turned pale. They had seen many people who accidentally offended the young Hall Master and were beaten to a pulp by her. Polar Snow's expression turned better when he saw that Bing Bai Jun and the others had shut up. He said, "At that time, I took Qing Yun to see the young home master, and Qing Yun accidentally offended her. She wanted to kill Qing Yun right away. Seeing this, I had no choice but to step in and stop her, which angered the young home master. Later, Qing Yun was afraid that I would be put in a difficult position, so he asked me to leave first. After I left, Qing Yun took out the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell and trapped him and the young home master inside. After that, Qing Yun put away the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell and walked out of the courtyard safely." Bing Bai Jun and the others' expressions changed again when they heard Polar Snow's words. Anyone who knew what they were thinking would understand. Obviously, they thought that something must have happened between Mo, Qing Yun, and the young home master and the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell for him to come out safely. Don't bother about Qing Yun and the young home master. Just pretend that you don't know anything. After explaining the situation briefly, Polar Snow waved to the others and gestured for them to go about their own business. Hearing this, Bing Bai Jun and the others left, but their expressions were still full of admiration. At the foot of an elegant mountain in the Thunder Hall, outside a quiet courtyard. After Mo, Qing Yun left the Ice Palace, he came here directly. Standing outside the courtyard, he smiled faintly and said, "I didn't expect to come here again after just a short while. I hope this girl's attitude will be better." Mo, Qing Yun muttered to himself. Then he shouted into the courtyard, "Mo, Qing Yun requests to see the young home master." To Mo, Qing Yun's surprise, there was no response from the courtyard even after he shouted a few times. "Is she not here?" Mo, Qing Yun frowned slightly. Doubt rose in his heart, and he couldn't help but guess, if she's not here, could she have gone to the Frost Lake? Chapter 2899. Mo, Qing Yun, here to see the young home master. Not long later, Mo, Qing Yun arrived at the side of the Jade Fall Cold Pond and shouted for the young home master. What surprised Mo, Qing Yun was that he shouted a few times, but there was still no response from the young home master. "She's not here either?" Seeing that the young home master did not respond for a long time, Mo, Qing Yun frowned even more, thinking about what to do next. The true beginning Devil Palace is so big, it won't be easy to find her in a short period of time. When Mo, Qing Yun thought about it this way, he felt a headache. This became a little difficult. If he couldn't find the young home master after searching for a few days, it would definitely delay Polar Ice's wedding. Forget it. Let's enter the Jade Fall Cold Pond and kill a few clear jade dragon sticklefish first. Mo, Qing Yun weighed in his heart. He made a decision and directly jumped into the Jade Fall Cold Pond. In his opinion, the most important thing now was to catch the clear jade dragon sticklefish first. As he had been here once before, Mo, Qing Yun was not unfamiliar with the Jade Fall Cold Pond. He swam in it with familiarity. When Mo, Qing Yun was searching, he didn't wander around blindly. Instead, he searched with a goal in mind. He said the green jade dragon has some characteristics. It's used to living in rock caves. The chances of finding it there are higher. After analyzing the habits of the clear jade dragon sticklefish, Mo, Qing Yun swam towards the rocky area. Not long later, Mo, Qing Yun arrived in front of the underground rocks and saw natural caves of various sizes. There are obvious scratches on these caves. If I'm not wrong, it should be the nest of the clear jade dragon sticklefish. Looking at the marks on the cave, Mo, Qing Yun nodded in understanding and quickly swam into the cave. The deeper he went into the cave, the more Mo, Qing Yun noticed that the scratches on the walls were increasing. After a while, under Mo, Qing Yun's search, he saw a few strange fish. These fish were covered in spikes, their bodies were like flood dragons, and they had ingot-shaped horns on their heads. My analysis was right. Looking at the strange fish, Mo, Qing Yun's face lit up as he recognized them. Seeing that he had found the clear jade dragon bonefish, Mo, Qing Yun immediately began to capture them. What surprised Mo, Qing Yun was that before he could make a move, those clear jade noble dragonspur fish had already escaped. What sharp senses! Seeing the Bai Qinggue dragonbone fish escape, Mo, Qing Yun hurriedly followed and continued to go deeper into the underground cave. Not long after, Under Mo Qingyun's pursuit, he caught up with the clear jade dragon bonefish. Space imprisonment. After catching up with the clear jade dragon spur, Mo Qingyun immediately released his spatial imprisonment law to prevent them from escaping. As the surrounding space was sealed, Bai Qingui dragonfish had no way to escape even though it wanted to. Withdraw. With a wave of his hand, Mo Qingyun caught all the imprisoned Bai Qingui dragonspur fish and threw them into the Fortune mainland. After catching all the Bai Qingui dragonspur fish, Mo Qingyun smiled happily, very satisfied with the result. With the Bai Qingui dragonspur fish in his hands, even if the young hall master came to investigate, at least the wedding banquet would not be affected. With the Bai Qingui dragonspur fish in my hands, I should go back. Just as Mo Qingyun was about to leave, he saw a faint fluctuation of formation energy at the front of the underground cave. This discovery piqued Mo Qingyun's curiosity, and he couldn't help moving closer to observe. At the same time, he also understood why the Bai Qingui dragonspur fish did not continue to escape. It turned out that their escape route was blocked by this formation. Such an ancient formation. How could there be such a formation at the bottom of the clear jade wintry pond? With a strong sense of curiosity, Mo Qingyun did not leave immediately, but carefully observed the formation. Then, Mo Qingyun circled the formation and swam at a moderate pace. After Mo Qingyun swam for a while, he made a shocking discovery. He had unknowingly entered the formation by mistake. Oh no, when I was chasing the Bai Qingui dragonspur fish, I accidentally entered this formation. Knowing his current situation, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat, and he felt a strong sense of uneasiness. He had entered this ancient formation by mistake, and if he was trapped, it would not be just a matter of 1 or 2 days. By then, not to mention attending the wedding banquet, it would be a problem whether he could get out of here alive. I hope the situation is not too bad, and this formation will not trap others. Mo Qingyun muttered to himself, and he began to swim around, looking for a way to leave the formation. After a while, as Mo Qingyun swam around, he felt a shocking fluctuation of energy coming from not far ahead. What a shocking fluctuation of energy! Feeling the fluctuation of energy, Mo Qingyun was curious, and he swam towards the source of the fluctuation of energy. When Mo Qingyun approached the source of the energy, he saw a huge shadow of a phoenix, which was emitting a dazzling light. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun was even more curious, and he moved closer to the shadow of the phoenix. As Mo Qingyun moved closer, he saw the situation of the shadow of the phoenix, and he was stunned. In the middle of the shadow of the phoenix, there was a beautiful girl who was sitting there with her legs crossed, naked. Why is she here? Recognizing the girl, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat, and he had a strong sense of unease. Then, without hesitation, he prepared to leave this place immediately. He would never have thought that he would meet the young hallmaster here. More importantly, the situation this time was worse than the last time, as the young hallmaster was naked. You pervert! Without waiting for Mo Qingyun to turn and leave, the young hallmaster opened her eyes and looked at him coldly. Recognizing Mo Qingyun, the young hallmaster's beautiful eyes were immediately filled with a murderous intent. The bastard in front of her had peeked at her body twice, and this was absolutely unforgivable. With a wave of her hand, she condensed a saint power robe and covered her body. Then, she rushed towards Mo Qingyun and attacked Mo Qingyun. Young hallmaster, please listen to me. This is all a misunderstanding. Seeing the young hallmaster rushing towards him, Mo Qingyun smiled bitterly and quickly explained to her. However, when Mo Qingyun spoke, his voice was not very confident. Once was a coincidence, but twice was still a coincidence. I should have known that the shocking fluctuation of energy might have come from her. As Mo Qingyun explained, he felt a little annoyed. He had been careless this time. Who else could be in the blue sky cold spring other than the young hallmaster? In response to Mo Qingyun's words, the young hallmaster's beautiful eyes were cold, and she said coldly, I'm not interested in your explanation. Die. As soon as the young hall master finished speaking, she blasted out an ice phoenix palm shadow. Excuse me. Seeing that the young hall master did not listen to him, Mo Qingyun showed an apologetic expression and took out the purple thunder heaven sealing bell. Chapter 2900. You let me out. Seeing that she was trapped, the young hall master's anger immediately reached its peak. Mo Qingyun actually used the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell to trap her again. She could not accept this. Mo Qingyun did not care about the young hall master's anger at all. He said calmly, I can let you out, but you have to listen to my explanation and stop attacking me. In your dreams, the young hall master replied through gritted teeth. The young hall master's reply made Mo Qingyun shake his head helplessly. He shrugged and said, In that case, I can only offend you. Please calm down in the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he sat down cross-legged and waited for the young hall master to change her attitude. Mo Qingyun's action immediately infuriated the young hall master. I order you to let me out. Do you hear me? If you don't see me at the wedding in 3 days, everyone will definitely come looking for me. At that time, let's see how you're going to trap me. If you don't let me go now, when I get out, I will definitely chop you into pieces. The young hall master's threatening words continuously entered Mo Qingyun's ears. However, to the young hall master's surprise, Mo Qingyun did not care at all. Seeing that Mo Qingyun did not reply, the young hall master finally understood that threatening Mo Qingyun was useless. Immediately, the young hall master fell silent, as if she was thinking of another way. Since the young hall master did not speak, Mo Qingyun was not in a hurry. He silently guarded the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell. Following that, the two remained silent, each thinking in their hearts. Time passed little by little. After an unknown period of time, the young hall master spoke again, breaking the silence. I promise that I will not attack you after I get out. Put away the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell. All right. Mo Qingyun did not doubt the young hall master's words. He raised his hand and put away the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell. In his opinion, given the young hall master's character, he would not go back on his words. Of course, Mo Qingyun dared to do this because he was not afraid of the young hall master. If they really fought, it would be hard to say who would emerge victorious between him and the young hall master. Just as Mo Qingyun had guessed, when a young hall master came out from the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, he really did not do anything to him. Young hall master, I didn't offend you earlier. I sincerely apologize to you. Mo Qingyun put away the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell. With a sincere expression, he bowed and apologized to the young hall master. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the young palace master snorted in anger and said, Apologize? Is an apology enough? Faced with the young hall master's questioning, Mo Qingyun was suddenly at a loss for words, feeling a little guilty. The young palace master was right. This kind of matter was not something that could be easily resolved with just a few words of apology. Mo Qingyun remained silent for a moment. He made up his mind and said, Young hall master, what do you want me to do to make up for my previous offense? My request is very simple. Since you have seen my body, you have to take responsibility for it. As soon as Mo Qingyun's words left his mouth, the young hall master's face was filled with shame and anger as she directly made this request to Mo Qingyun. However, the tone of her voice was not that of a shy little girl, but more like a queen giving an order. Take responsibility? Mo Qingyun's expression was blank. He felt that his brain seemed to be unable to process what was happening. Why did the young hall master's request not sound like a condemnation, but more like a repayment of a debt of gratitude? Without waiting for Mo Qingyun to regain his senses, the young hall master snorted coldly. Still in a commanding tone, she said, 10 days later, I will send someone to propose marriage to Polar Ice. At that time, you will marry into my Thunder Hall, and from then on, you will belong to me, Lame Yuan. Puff! After hearing Lame Yuan's words, Mo Qingyun was instantly dumbfounded and almost choked to death on his saliva. Lame Yuan's actions had truly baffled him, although he had to admit that Lame Yuan's peerless beauty had moved his heart a little. Furthermore, Lame Yuan and Qian Linglong looked alike, so the two of them might even be related. However, to marry into the Thunder Hall and become Lame Yuan's subordinate was not something he could accept. No, I won't agree. Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment before rejecting Lame Yuan. You won't agree? Lame Yuan was shocked by Mo Qingyun's attitude, and a frosty expression appeared on her beautiful face. As a #1 beauty in the Tai Chu star field, countless people admired her. As long as she opened her mouth, those who wanted to marry into her family would probably be able to go around the entire Tai Chu star field to persuade her. But now, this guy in front of her had not only violated her twice, but now he was even refusing to marry her. She had to admit that this result was a blow to her. It made her instinctively resist her own appearance once again. Lame Yuan glared coldly at Mo Qingyun, and her aura became even more forceful. Mo Qingyun, I'm telling you now that I'm not negotiating with you. I'm just informing you that you have to agree to this even if you don't want to. Mo Qingyun was a little speechless. This woman was too domineering. Immediately after, Mo Qingyun summoned the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell without hesitation. After summoning the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, Mo Qingyun blasted it toward Lame Yuan and sealed her inside again. Looks like you still haven't calmed down. Calm down a little longer. After sealing Lame Yuan again, Mo Qingyun sat down cross-legged and spoke calmly to the young hallmaster. Mo Qingyun's actions immediately stupefied her, and she stood absent-mindedly within the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Ever since she could remember, there had never been anyone who treated her the way Mo Qingyun treated her. At this moment, a strong sense of grievance grew in her heart. Gradually, her eyes glowed, and a strong sense of bitterness arose in her heart. Ever since the old hall master had died, she had shouldered the heavy burden alone and maintained the situation in the true absolute beginning demon hall. She had never told anyone about that kind of pressure, grievance, and bitterness, which made her think that she was very strong. Who knew that Mo Qingyun's current actions would shatter that strength? It made her feel that she was just deceiving herself with her disguise. Things like emotions, once released, could no longer be suppressed, especially for someone like Lame Yuan, who had suppressed her emotions for a long time. Now that there was a breakthrough, it was like a flood that directly occupied Lame Yuan's entire heart. Immediately, a choked sob sounded from within the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. She's crying. When he heard the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell's voice, Mo Qingyun's expression went blank, and he found it a little unbelievable. In his opinion, this kind of behavior should have nothing to do with Lame Yuan. After a moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun frowned, and some doubts arose in his heart. Is she pretending to be pitiful? Is she trying to trick me? Forget it. Whether or not she's pretending to be pitiful, I can't take this move. Mo Qingyun shook his head and sighed. He put away the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell and looked at the red-eyed Lame Yuan. Chapter 2901. At this moment, Lame Yuan did not have the slightest bit of strength, only a delicate and pitiful appearance. She was just like a little girl wandering the streets, showing a helpless and lost appearance. If Lame Yuan had continued to be strong, Mo Qingyun might not have backed down. However, with her current appearance, Mo Qingyun really found it hard to not back down. Little Hall. No, Miss Lei, this one really did not mean to offend you. Please don't be too sad. Looking at such a Lame Yuan, Mo Qingyun could not help but feel ashamed, feeling that he had gone too far. Lame Yuan did not reply to Mo Qingyun's words, as if she had not heard them at all. The current her seemed to be immersed in a world of sorrow, with only sorrow in her eyes. Looking at Lame Yuan's appearance, Mo Qingyun did not say anything else, silently standing guard by her side. If he wanted to deal with the matter between him and Lame Yuen, running away was useless. The only way was to face it head-on. As time passed, Lame Yuen's emotions gradually stabilized, and the fluorescent light at the corner of her eyes slowly receded. Seeing Lame Yuen's emotions gradually stabilizing, Emo Qing-yun took a deep breath. Looking at her solemnly, he said, "Miss Lei, I know that my previous offense has caused you great harm. I will not shirk my responsibility, and I can agree to marry into the Thunder Hall. However, our acquaintance is still shallow. Marriage is not a trifling matter. Please consider it carefully, and do not let your emotions affect your decisions. If there comes a day when you have thought it through and really want me to marry into your family, I will definitely not refuse in the slightest." Emo Qing-yun's face was full of sincerity, as if he was daring to take responsibility for his actions, and confided in Lame Yuen. Hearing Emo Qing-yun's words, Lame Yuen's beautiful eyes trembled, and a trace of emotion flashed through her eyes. However, her beautiful face quickly turned cold, and she looked at Emo Qing-yun with a reproachful expression, saying, "Humph, there are so many people who want to marry me. Who do you think you are? Do you really think that I, Lame Yuen, must marry you?" Listening to Lame Yuen's angry words, Emo Qing-yun's heart was filled with a sour taste. A wave of depression rose in his heart. These words sounded a little strange. However, Emo Qing-yun didn't refute her. He just looked at Lame Yuen calmly. If this could calm her down, he was willing to endure it. Seeing that Emo Qing-yun didn't retort, the anger on Lame Yuen's face slowly subsided. She said, "You can leave. I want to be alone for a while." "All right." Emo Qing-yun nodded. Emo Qing-yun stood up. Just as he was about to leave, he stopped. Then, he took out the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell and handed it to Lame Yuen. He said, "This is the sect guarding treasure of the true Primordium Demon Hall. I'm returning it to you now." Seeing Emo Qing-yun's actions, Lame Yuen's beautiful eyes trembled. She looked at Emo Qing-yun with hidden bitterness and said, "Are you returning the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell to me to reduce our entanglement and slowly cut ties with me?" Emo Qing-yun was silent. He nodded and then shook his head. He didn't rule out such a thought in his heart, but it wasn't like that. To be honest, his feelings towards Lame Yuen were very complicated. He couldn't really explain it himself. Seeing Emo Qing-yun's performance, Lame Yuen chuckled and said, "Emo Qing-yun, you want to cut ties with me and make up for the apology in your heart. I won't let you succeed. Keep the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell for me. As long as I don't take the initiative to take it back, you and I will not be able to cut ties." After Lame Yuen finished speaking, she ignored Emo Qing-yun and flew away. Sigh. Looking at Lame Yuen's back, Emo Qing-yun couldn't help but sigh. Judging from the current situation, his relationship with Lame Yuen was becoming more and more complicated. Let nature take its course. Emo Qing-yun shook his head and didn't think about it anymore. Seeing that Lame Yuen had left, Emo Qing-yun didn't stay any longer and swam out of the heaven-falling cold pool. After a while, Emo Qing-yun left the heaven-falling cold pool and came to the residence of Polar Snow and the others. Arriving at Polar Snow's residence, Emo Qing-yun saw Bing Pingyu and asked, "Uncle Pingyu, has the Grandmaster returned?" "Not yet." Hearing Emo Qing-yun's question, Bing Pingyu shook his head and asked Emo Qing-yun, "Qing-yun, did the request to enter the heaven-falling cold pool go smoothly?" Hearing Bing Pingyu mention Lame Yuen, Emo Qing-yun's mood became melancholy. He nodded with a complicated expression and said, "Everything went well. I've caught the Jade Pure Dragon Stickleback." As Emo Qing-yun spoke, he took out the Jade Pure Dragon Stickleback and threw it in front of Bing Pingyu. Bing Pingyu naturally didn't know about the matter between Emo Qing-yun and Lame Yuen, and he didn't dare to think about it. "Qing-yun, you're the best. You even managed to convince the young Hall Master." Bing Pingyu's face was filled with surprise when he saw the Jade Pure Dragon Stickleback and spoke with admiration. He then put the Jade Pure Dragon Stickleback away and prepared to hand it over to the kitchen. At that moment, As Mo Qingyun and Bing Pingyu were talking, a green-robed elder quickly approached them. Senior Morong Xiao, what are you doing here? When he saw the white-robed elder, Bing Pingyu was shocked and inquired about the other party's intentions. When Bing Pingyu asked the question, Morong Xiao's expression turned solemn, and he vaguely felt uneasy. Hearing Bing Pingyu's question, Morong Xiao's expression turned solemn as he replied. A while ago, the disciple who was guarding the spirit pavilion in the wood hall reported that the Grand Elder's soul jade tablet had cracked. She must have met with some mishap, so I've come to report this to you. Senior Morong's soul jade tablet had cracked. Morong Xiao's words greatly shocked Mo Qingyun and Bing Pingyu. This meant that Morong Nana had been injured, and her injuries were extremely serious. Morong Nana had gone to the Sea of Ice with Polar Snow and the others. If Morong Nana had met with danger, Polar Snow and the others would not have escaped either. Oh no, we've fallen into a trap. Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat as he guessed at a possibility. The fish ingredients for the banquet had all disappeared. This was a scheme devised by someone who had set a trap for Polar Snow in the Sea of Ice. They had guessed that Polar Snow would certainly head to the Sea of Ice to capture the missing ingredients. Once Polar Snow had reached the Sea of Ice, he would have fallen into their trap and be ambushed. When Bing Pingyu thought about Polar Snow and the other situation, he did not dare to hesitate and immediately requested Mo Qingyun. They must have met with danger in the Sea of Ice. Junior nephew Mo, please go and save them. Uncle Master Pingyu, don't worry, I will bring the Grandmaster and the others back. When he heard Bing Pingyu's request, Mo Qingyun nodded and agreed without hesitation. Senior Morong Xiao, please lead the way to the Sea of Ice. All right, Morong Xiao agreed to Mo Qingyun's request without hesitation. Junior nephew Pingyu, don't worry too much. We've already gathered our men, and we will save Palace Master Polar Snow and the Grand Elder. Chapter 2902. Not long after, Mo Qingyun arrived at the wood hall under Morong Xiao's lead. When Mo Qingyun arrived at the wood hall, he saw 5 people waiting anxiously. 1 advanced sector lord, 1 intermediate sector lord, and 3 initial sector lord. When he saw the 5 of them, Mo Qingyun released his divine consciousness and sensed their cultivation levels. With the cultivation levels of these 5 people, forming a rescue team was considered a luxurious lineup. In addition, Morong Xiao was an intermediate sector lord. Even if they encountered a peak sector lord, they would have the power to fight. Elder Morong Xiao, did the Ice Hall not send anyone? When he saw Morong Xiao return, the late-stage sector lord asked with displeasure. Obviously, he felt that the Ice Hall should have sent more people after encountering such a situation. Now that Morong Xiao had returned with only an advanced Eternal Realm Junior, he probably wasn't the rescue team. Little friend Mo beside me is the person sent by the Ice Hall. When he heard the other party's question, Morong Xiao smiled faintly and introduced Mo Qingyun to the group. When the 5 of them found out that the person sent by the Ice Hall was the advanced Eternal Realm Junior before them, they were immediately displeased. Elder Morong Xiao, are you joking? With his advanced Eternal Realm cultivation level, I'm afraid it will be difficult for him to even move in the Sea of Ice. Even if the Ice Hall has experienced an unforeseen event and their strength has been greatly weakened, they should still have 1 or 2 initial sector lord experts, right? The few of them complained angrily. Morong Xiao seemed to have expected their reaction. He smiled faintly and said, Elders, don't be in a hurry to complain. Little friend Mo's identity isn't simple. He's Mo Qingyun from the Polar Ice Hall. When they heard Morong Xiao's words, they were stunned and couldn't react for a moment. After being stunned for a short while, the expressions on their faces became excited one after another. He's Mo Qingyun, the monstrous disciple of the Ice Hall? I really didn't expect his cultivation level to be at the advanced Eternal Realm. The second elder of the Ice Hall is an advanced sector lord. He can easily kill her. Sending him alone is enough. From their expressions, it could be seen that they were very familiar with Mo Qingyun. Given the relationship between the Wood Hall and the Ice Hall, it was not strange for them to know about this. Since that's the case, let's go. Murong Xiao suggested to everyone when he saw that everyone's attitude had changed and recognized Mo Qingyun's power. When they heard Murong Xiao's words, they nodded and flew out of the true beginning Devil Hall. When they arrived outside the true beginning Devil Hall, Murong Xiao summoned the flying boat and steered the flying boat towards the sea of ice. After instructing the others, Mo Qingyun returned to the cabin and took out Gu Fan's body to refine. Now that he had refined 60% of Gu Fan's spirit, he did not have to worry about a backlash. Therefore, he did not have to worry about moving Gu Fan's body. After taking out Gu Fan's body, Mo Qingyun released his soul and seeped into Gu Fan's soul. As Mo Qingyun had assimilated more than 60% of Gu Fan's spirit, he sped up and did not have to be as careful as before. Subsequently, Mo Qingyun's refining speed was many times faster than before and could not be mentioned in the same breath. Next, Mo Qingyun immersed himself in refining Gu Fan's spirit. After an unknown period of time, young friend Mo, we have found Palace Master Ice Pole. They're trapped in an ice valley. A soul message entered Mo Qingyun's mind and woke him up from his cultivation. Hearing this soul message, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating and stopped refining Gu Fan's spirit. What a pity! If I had refined 70%, my strength would have increased by 20%. Mo Qingyun sighed. He put away Gu Fan's spirit and walked out of the secret chamber. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived beside Murong Xiao and the others and realized that he was outside a valley. It seemed that Murong Xiao and the others had not disturbed him when he had arrived at the frozen sea. Now that he had found Ice Pole and the others, the 5 of them had sent him a message to rescue Ice Pole. Chapter 2903. After understanding their good intentions, Mo Qingyun secretly nodded and had a better impression of them. Mo Qingyun looked around and briefly checked the terrain. He said, "Seniors, how are the Grandmaster and the others? Do you have any good ideas on how to rescue them?" Murong Xiao's expression was solemn and worried when he heard Mo Qingyun's question. He said, "Little friend Mo, Palace Master Ice Pole, and the others are not in a good condition. Especially Grand Elder Murong's condition. It's extremely serious. He's already relying on Palace Master Ice Pole to prolong his life. If this goes on, Palace Master Ice Pole will exhaust his saint power and they won't be able to resist. As for a rescue plan, we don't know the strength of those people, so we haven't thought of one yet." When they heard Murong Xiao's words, Chong Mingjiang and the other 4 had anxious looks on their faces. Mo Qingyun immediately understood when he saw Murong Xiao and the others' expressions. It was impossible to rely on them to think of a solution. The situation is urgent. It's too late to think of a plan. Let's attack. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he turned into a stream of light and charged into the valley. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Chong Mingjiang and the others were stunned. They couldn't help but be stunned. However, they quickly regained their senses and exchanged glances with each other. "Everyone, what young Master Mo said is true. The only way now is to attack. If we spend time thinking of a plan, I'm afraid Grand Elder Murong Nana can't wait any longer. Let's go together. Don't let Mr. Mo be left alone and fall into an ambush." The few of them exchanged a few words before they chased after Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times. They arrived at the entrance of the valley and were ambushed by a group of people. These people were not weak. They were all at the Sector Lord realm, especially the 3 leaders. One of them was at the peak of the Sector Lord realm, while the other 2 were at the advanced stage of the Sector Lord realm. Chong Mingjiang and the others immediately paled when faced with such a lineup. In their opinion, they were no match for the enemy with their strength. "Everyone, don't be disheartened. Charge in with me." Seeing the performance of Chong Mingjiang and the others, Mo Qingyun spoke with a solemn expression to stabilize everyone's morale. As Mo Qingyun spoke, His figure flashed as he charged towards that peak world lord. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Chang Mengjiang and the others' fear immediately lessened. Mo Qingyun had already stopped the strongest person in their group. What else did they have to be afraid of? Brat, you're finally here. I'm very curious about you. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, this pinnacle sector lord revealed a disdainful expression. Seeing the performance of a pinnacle sector lord, a late-stage sector lord beside him immediately reminded him, Senior Zifang, this kid isn't simple. You mustn't underestimate him. Zifang smirked coldly and said, I know more about this kid than all of you. How would I dare to underestimate him? As Zifang spoke, he released a will that crushed down on Mo Qingyun. Under the shroud of the will, Chang Mengjiang and the others' faces were filled with reverence. Their battle intent also weakened. Immediately after, the battle prowess they displayed was greatly affected. Seems like I can't hide my strength anymore. I have to bring everyone into the valley. Seeing the performance of Chang Mengjiang and the others, Mo Qingyun made a decision. He didn't want to hide his strength anymore. Immediately, he used Gu Fan's Saint Power to increase his own strength. Immediately, the aura that Mo Qingyun released rose rapidly. At the same time, a terrifying will power was released from Mo Qingyun's body. Such a powerful will. It's even stronger than the old palace masters. With Mo Qingyun's cultivation, how can he have such a willpower? Too monstrous. This kid is a freak. Looking at Mo Qingyun's performance, Chang Mengjiang and the others were stunned. However, seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, their battle intent returned. Spatial door. Time door. After using Gu Fan's Saint Power, Mo Qingyun did not stop. He performed 2 more superpowers. Immediately, 2 mysterious power of the rules entered his body. Space imprisonment, time acceleration. Knowing that he had obtained 2 rules, Mo Qingyun was overjoyed. He had a plan in mind. Mo Qingyun's mind moved. He activated the double space imprisonment rules of order. Then, the enemies that were fighting with Chang Mengjiang and the others were all forcefully sealed. I can't trap them for long. Quickly enter the valley. After trapping their movements, Mo Qingyun shouted for Chang Mengjiang and the others to leave first. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Chang Mengjiang and the others gritted their teeth and rushed into the valley. Although they did not want to leave Mo Qingyun behind, they knew that they would be a burden if they stayed. Kid, you just like the rumors. You're overly loyal. Zifang did not care about Chang Mengjiang and the others leaving. He looked at Mo Qingyun with a faint smile and said, Since you're willing to die for them, I'll fulfill your wish. Absolute beginning sky-splitting slash. Zissou held a huge sword in his hand and slashed at Mo Qingyun, shattering the space directly. As the space was shattered, the few people who were trapped by Mo Qingyun also regained their freedom. When they saw Zifang attack, they did not dare to hesitate and immediately retreated to the side. When a few of them retreated, they chased after Chang Mengjiang and the others, wanting to make them stay. Eternity. No regrets. Facing the incoming sword light, Mo Qingyun did not dare to be careless. Chapter 2904. Senior Murong Xiao, please lead the way and bring us to the Grandmaster. Once they had entered the Ice Valley, Mo Qingyun instructed Murong Xiao to lead the way. Murong Xiao nodded when he heard Mo Qingyun's instructions. He then sensed Murong Nana and the others' location. They're in the northwest direction. We'll head over immediately. Murong Xiao sensed for a moment before he nodded at Mo Qingyun and the others. He then rushed toward the northwest direction. When they saw Murong Xiao taking the lead, Mo Qingyun and the others quickly followed behind him and flew toward the northwest direction. The space in the Ice Valley was not very big. Mo Qingyun and the others only took a few minutes to find Polar Snow and the others. At that moment, Polar Snow and the others had a heavy expression on their faces. They looked exhausted. It was obvious that they had exhausted a large amount of their saint energy and mental strength when they had fought with Zi Fong and the others. Grandmaster, we're here. When he saw Polar Snow and the others, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and greeted them. When Polar Snow heard Mo Qingyun's voice, he was immediately overjoyed. He lifted his head and looked at Mo Qingyun. Polar Snow was overjoyed when he thought about Mo Qingyun's medical skills. He said excitedly, "Qingyun, it's great that you're here. Come take a look at Nana's injuries." "All right." Mo Qingyun did not refuse. He immediately walked toward Murong Nana and began to check on her injuries. After Mo Qingyun sensed for a while, he had a rough understanding of Murong Nana's condition. Then, he withdrew his right hand and frowned as he pondered. Murong Nana's condition was worse than he had expected. If Polar Snow had not forcefully extended her life, she would have died more than 10 times. "Qingyun, how's Nana's condition? What can we do to save her?" Seeing that Mo Qingyun had retracted his hands, Polar Snow was so worried that his mind was in a mess. He hurriedly asked Mo Qingyun. Under Polar Frost's nervous gaze, Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment before replying, "It's impossible to heal Senior Murong's injuries in a short period of time. All I could do now is to keep her alive. I hope that in a few days, she will be able to move freely and successfully complete your marriage." After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Polar Frost's expression turned serious. "There's no need to rush the wedding. It doesn't matter even if it's delayed. As long as her injuries can be healed, it's fine." After understanding what Polar Snow meant, Mo Qingyun nodded and cut his finger. Then he forced out a drop of blood and sent it into Murong Nana's mouth. Qingyun, seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Polar Snow's expression changed and his eyes widened. Polar Snow was not the only one who reacted this way. Murong Xiao and the others who were next to him were also stunned. Mo Qingyun's actions had exceeded their expectations. They had never thought that he would do something like this. Seeing the shock and confusion in Polar Snow's heart, Mo Qingyun explained, "My bloodline is rather special. It has great healing powers. Now that the situation is urgent, there's no time for me to refine a pill to heal Senior Murong's injuries. I can only let her consume my blood and save her life first." After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, the crowd nodded in understanding. Murong Nana's current condition was different from Polar Snow's. Naturally, they could not use the same method. "Grandmaster, help Senior Murong to the upright position. I want to help her refine her blood." After feeding the blood to Murong Nana, Mo Qingyun instructed Polar Snow and sat down behind Murong Nana. After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Polar Snow immediately did as he was told and helped Murong Nana to the upright position. Then, Mo Qingyun raised his right palm and struck Murong Nana's back. Then, a surge of pure saint energy seeped into Murong Nana's body through the air. When they saw Mo Qingyun's actions, Polar Snow and the others immediately tensed up. After that, Mo Qingyun focused on healing Murong Nana's injuries as the crowd watched anxiously. Time passed by slowly. As time passed, Murong Nana's complexion became better and better. When they saw that Murong Nana's complexion had improved, Polar Snow and the others relaxed. Their hearts that had been hanging in the air were completely at ease. From the looks of it, Murong Nana's life was no longer in danger. Now, she only needed to focus on healing her injuries. Not long after, Mo Qingyun withdrew his right palm. His face was slightly pale as he said, "Grandmaster, Senior Murong's life is no longer in danger. Next, she needs to slowly recuperate. Only then can her cultivation slowly recover. All right, you've worked hard. Quickly go and rest." After learning about Murong Nana's situation, Polar Snow had an expression of concern on his face as he expressed his concern to Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun did not say much. He walked towards an igloo and adjusted his breathing to recover the energy he had expended earlier. "This time, we've troubled that little fellow again. The two of us can't repay what we owe him." Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was gradually walking away, Polar Snow had an emotional expression. He did not know how to express his emotions. Hearing Polar Snow's words, Murong Nana pondered for a moment and said, "He's Babeli's direct disciple. He probably came to the true Primordium Demon Palace to clear Babeli's name. I think that we can let Babeli return to the sect and clear his past grievances." Polar Snow nodded in agreement with Murong Nana's suggestion. "I think so too, but it's very difficult to do it." Polar Snow felt a headache when he thought of the trouble he would face after finding Babeli and returning to the sect. He said, "The cause of the old palace master's death is still unknown." Chapter 2905. Outside the Ice Valley. Lord Zifong. They have already found reinforcements. What if they find more reinforcements? An old man beside Zifong narrowed his eyes and asked with a cold glint in his eyes. He was worried that if Polar Snow found more reinforcements, they would not be able to fight back. Zifong did not answer the elder's question. He looked coldly at the entrance of the Ice Valley. Seeing that Zifong didn't say anything and didn't know what he was thinking, the old man couldn't remain calm and said, "Now that they are here, how strong are we now? When they send more reinforcements, it won't be just these few people like before." Zifong did not reply to the elder's reminder. He continued to think. Naturally, his behavior made the people around him confused. They didn't know what he was thinking. They did not dare to say anything and stood silently at the side. Not long later, just when everyone was at a loss, Zifong's eyes lit up. He said, "The sect has succeeded. We don't have to wait any longer. Let's enter the Ice Valley." After Zifong said that, he signaled to the people beside him to enter the Ice Valley. Hearing Zifong's order, no one dared to hesitate. They all walked towards the entrance of the Ice Valley. When they got close to the entrance of the Ice Valley, their expressions became serious and they were on guard. They were worried that Polar Snow and the rest would be guarding the entrance. When they entered the Ice Valley, they would be caught off guard. Next, everyone carefully entered the Ice Gorge. What surprised them was that Polar Snow and the rest did not set up an ambush at the entrance of the Ice Valley. They are not here. They must have found a place to hide. Seeing that Polar Snow and the rest did not set up an ambush at the entrance, Zifong looked around and said, "The Ice Palace is not big. They cannot hide for long. The few of you follow me. The few of you stay at the entrance." "Yes." Hearing Zifong's order, the few of them nodded. Then Zifong led a group of people and started to search the Ice Valley. Although the space in the Ice Valley wasn't very big, with Zifong and the other's strength, they would need at least a few hours to search the entire Ice Valley. Time passed by slowly. Unknowingly, several hours had passed. After a few hours of cultivation, Mo Qingyun had completely recovered the energy he had used to heal Murong Nana. After recovering his body to its peak condition, Mo Qingyun walked out of the igloo and went to look for Polar Snow and the others. Since we found them, let's discuss returning to the true absolute beginning Devil Palace. When Mo Qingyun walked out of the igloo, they found Polar Snow and the others. Walking to their side, Mo Qingyun said, "Grandmaster, I'm in a bad situation right now. It's better for us to return to the sect as soon as possible. If there's nothing else, let's return to the sect immediately." "All right." Polar Snow agreed to Mo Qingyun's suggestion without hesitation. Subsequently, Polar Snow waited for Mo Qingyun and the others to rush towards the exit of the Ice Gorge. 15 minutes later, Mo Qingyun and the others arrived not far from the exit and saw a group of people guarding the exit, blocking their path. When they saw this, Polar Snow and the others' expressions turned solemn. A worried look flashed across their eyes. "The exit has been blocked. What should we do now?" When Murong Xiao saw the familiar faces near the exit, his old face tensed up as he asked Polar Snow. When Polar Snow heard Murong Xiao's question, he rubbed the space between his brows as if he was deep in thought. He then said, "If it's just these few people, they won't be a problem for us." However, they weren't the only ones who had launched a sneak attack on us. Palace Master Polar Snow, Do you mean that the remaining people are lying in ambush around us? Murong Xiao quickly asked. When Polar Snow heard this, he shook his head and said, maybe not. What should we do then? Murong Xiao felt a headache coming on. When he saw that Murong Xiao and Polar Snow were unable to come up with a good plan, Mo Qingyun stood up and said, to us, no matter what the situation is, we'll have to face them. If that's the case, what's the point of gathering? We'll just attack them directly. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he immediately moved and charged toward those people. When Mo Qingyun charged toward them, he did not hesitate at all as he immediately raised his hand and slammed it forward. When Mo Qingyun waved his hand, a black and eerie light gate flew out from his palm. The black light gate left Mo Qingyun's palm and rapidly grew in size. It immediately enveloped those people. The space gate. The gate of time. After temporarily sealing those people, Mo Qingyun unleashed his origin divine power to increase his combat strength. At the same time, he also borrowed Gu Fan's saint power to increase his own strength. In just a short moment, the aura that Mo Qingyun exuded had become several times more powerful. Defense ignore. Time flies. After borrowing Gu Fan's saint power, Mo Qingyun wielded the Divine Nine Bulls sword and slashed at one of the people. With a flash of light, the Divine Nine Bulls sword blasted out a sword ray that landed on one of the people. These people had just broken through the gate of death. The first person to escape was still in a state of shock when the sword ray arrived in front of him. Puffed. Then, before the man could react, he was struck by the sword ray. The sword ray flashed and slashed at his head, piercing through his body. No! Feeling his body shake, his chi and blood churn, and his saint power dissipating, the person's eyes widened. He could not believe that this was real. He could not believe that Lin Fan had used only one move to kill him instantly. After killing one person with a single slash, Mo Qingyun did not stop and attacked another person. Seeing what happened to the person in front, the people behind raised their guard and carefully dealt with Mo Qingyun's attack. After that, Mo Qingyun became entangled with these people. The battle was like a raging fire, and the scene was intense to the extreme. Let's not just watch. Let's go and help Qingyun immediately. Seeing Mo Qingyun take action, Polar Snow and the others did not hesitate and immediately went to help Mo Qingyun. With the addition of Polar Snow and the others, the pressure on Mo Qingyun was reduced and his attacks became fiercer. As Mo Qingyun's attacks became stronger, the people who were fighting with him were killed one after another. What surprised Mo Qingyun and the others was that after Mo Qingyun had killed a few people, Zi Fang and the others did not appear. This made them puzzled as they did not understand what Zi Fang was planning. Since those people are not here, let's kill our way out. Seeing the reaction of Polar Snow and the others, Mo Qingyun could guess what they were thinking. He directly said to them, "We don't need to worry about the Purple Fang's intention. At least, the current situation is extremely good for us." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Polar Snow and the others abandoned all distracting thoughts and crazily killed those who blocked their way. He shook her head and said with a solemn expression, "However, according to our deduction, the young palace master went missing should be at the Frost Lake of the Thunder Hall." Frost Lake? Polar Snow was shocked and quickly looked at Mo Qingyun and asked, "Qingyun, when you went to the Frost Lake, did you see the young palace master there?" Polar Snow remembered that Mo Qingyun had said that he was going to the Frost Lake to hunt the frost dragon bonefish. With Mo Qingyun's character, if he was stopped by the young palace master, he might fight with the young palace master. And Mo Qingyun had the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. If he sealed the young palace master in it, it wouldn't be difficult for him to do it without anyone knowing. Could it be that Mo Qingyun killed the young palace master silently in anger and then destroyed the corpse to get rid of the evidence? When this thought appeared in his mind, Polar Snow was shocked and his heart was hanging in his throat. Then he shook his head and got rid of the distracting thoughts in his mind. With his understanding of Mo Qingyun, he shouldn't be such a person. He wouldn't do such a thing. "You've been to the Frost Lake?" Hearing Polar Snow's words, He immediately turned her head and looked coldly at Mo Qingyun. She looked at Mo Qingyun as if he was her enemy, and she couldn't wait to tear him apart. Sensing the presence of those people, Mo Qingyun was puzzled and became more careful. He came here only to find Lei Muan. He didn't want to cause any trouble. If these people discovered him, it would definitely cause many unpredictable obstacles to his actions. After a while, Mo Qingyun swam carefully and arrived at the place where Lei Muan was cultivating. He saw several elders guarding there. Looking at the elders guarding there, Mo Qingyun released his divine sense and sensed their cultivation level. 2 Pinnacle Sector Lords, 3 Advanced Sector Lords. After sensing their cultivation level, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious. He suddenly felt a headache coming on. With these 5 people guarding there, it was too difficult for him to get close to where Lei Muan was cultivating. Why did I lure them away? Mo Qingyun rubbed his chin and thought quickly. After pondering for a while, Mo Qingyun's heart stirred, and he immediately came up with a plan. Next, Enchantment appeared beside him and waited respectfully for his orders. After this period of cultivation, Enchant's cultivation level wasn't any weaker than Musiahi's. "Enchant, go lure those 5 people away from me, then wait for me outside the true, absolute beginning Devil Palace." After summoning Enchant, Mo Qingyun instructed him to divert the attention of these people. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Enchant didn't hesitate and immediately flew towards the 5. Enchant's aura was exposed and immediately attracted their attention. They acted like a strong enemy was at their door. After that, the 5 of them surrounded Enchant with the intention of making him stay. Half-step Great Emperor. The disappearance of the young Hall Master might be related to him. No matter if it's related to the young Hall Master's disappearance or not, we can't let him escape. Contact the others and take him down. The 5 of them spoke excitedly after sensing Enchant's cultivation. Enchant turned around and fled when he saw that all their attention was on him. Seeing Enchant about to flee, the 5 of them immediately chased after him. They didn't notice Mo Qingyun on the side at all. With a flash, Mo Qingyun arrived where Lei Muan cultivated when he saw the 5 of them chase after Enchant. There are 2 pulses of formation energy here. One is rather chaotic, while the other is rather obscure. Mo Qingyun released his divine sense and sensed the surroundings when he arrived where Lei Muan cultivated. He wanted to find out what had happened to Lei Muan and why she had suddenly disappeared from there. Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn as he began to analyze the surroundings. The chaotic fluctuation of formation energy should be caused by the destruction of the formation. As for the obscure fluctuation of formation energy, it should be an extremely high-grade formation. That's why I can't sense its existence. Mo Qingyun, stop resisting. I'll bring you into the formation.